then everybody, welcome to session 20 of Blood and Shackles. It's been a while. It's been a long, long time since you last saw the party. And so much had happened, it's hard to remember if it can all fit into one session. But apparently, last session begun just when you were still in the Fey Realm, thanking the Queen for her beautiful work in restoring Nate back to a slightly younger version of himself. And yes, you spent a little time in there thanking her profusely and saying your goodbyes. As a final farewell gift, she gave you a token of her appreciation to some hairs from her head, which seemed to bestow upon you some divine or fey inspiration, I guess technically divine is somebody else in this universe. And yes, you continued on your travels up the river. I guess I will bring us to the wall map for a slight bit to describe it. So yes, indeed, you begun all the way down here at the beginning of last session with that encounter. For you headed on up the river, passed through the Lake of Banished Armies without seeing any armies they had banished, of course, while only seeing a small village along the lake bank, which you decided that, live and let live, and continued swiftly on. And yeah, you journeyed far, miles upon miles, 2 weeks in total of travel down the river, making smooth and speedy progress, before you came to a bit where the jungle started to close around you once more, the river getting narrower and harder to traverse? No, what's the word?
Traverse.
Traverse. That is the one. Thank you. You had to pull out the roads at some point, much to the sadness of everybody who didn't like doing physical labor. And yeah, you kept going until you came to a bit where your way on seemed to be blocked, pretty annoyingly, by a waterfall. You saw in the distance, beyond the tree line, beyond the river, a waterfall of quite solid height. I think it was something like 100 feet or something like that, if I vaguely remember the numbers, which I immediately forget as soon as I say them and then have to rely on them in the past. I love it so much. And luckily enough, however, as you were looking at it, you noticed that along the banks of this river there was also a settlement of some kind. A group of native Morangi who had I guess, who not had, who live in this area, who were apprehensive, of course, to meet you. You are foreigners to this land and strangers. But it seems that you had a meeting. Cooper thought they were trying to poison you, but instead it was just some strange tea. And they basically were trying to decide how they could really trust you, what you could show, maybe not just your trust, but also if you actually helped this village, if they could make some sort of arrangement about how if they help you, you can help them, sort of thing. And as a way to gain their trust, you asked if they had any. You explained that you were a very powerful adventuring party, and if they had any need of such individuals, you would be willing to offer some assistance. And indeed, they had a recent problem at a giant tree sacred to them couple of days, I think it was, into the jungle away from the river, where the tree had been basically taken over as a lair or hideout for a group of Harpies who were basically scared of / killed the kind of ritual watchers of the tree, and that they didn't want to risk more of the individuals doing a big fight or hunting it whether or not they could win or not. So instead, you agreed to go out and take care of it, and indeed you did. You set off towards the tree with a little help from a guide, and find yourself now at the base of the giant tree. Shortly after you arrived, Nate kind of strolled up in the giant form, and you got swooped down by the flying monsters. However, after a battle, you have now vanquished them, and you stand at the base of this giant tree. And just to refresh your memories, because it has been a while, one of the ways they said you could prove that you had been there was this seed which is meant to grow at the top of the giant tree, and they asked you to retrieve the seed and bring it back as proof that the harpies were properly vanquished. And you just come over here and then walk back.
What a tree?
At the top of the tree, indeed.
It's
Now
pretty.
the tree is pretty big. It is a couple hundred meters.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
And I
100
actually
meters. I wrote it down. It was 200.
Perfect. My couple 100 meters was
Couple
right.
hundred.
I'm shocked I said the same thing. What a shock that was. Good work writing it down. And I made the AI make a little bit of art to try to show you roughly of what in my head I was imagining. Sorry, not the tree. That's obvious. Look at it, just dying for a tree. But the camp itself at the waterfall. Because it's way so hard to visualize these things. So this is how I imagine it looking like, at least.
Oh, you made this? This is amazing.
Mm-hmm. I've recently become an artist. Ignore what you put online about AI art. That means amazing Ian art is what it mainly stands for.
I was hoping of like a paint drawn like tree.
Oh, thank you. No. So yeah, just to show you exactly, maybe set the mind a little bit in the zone. But yes, now you stand at the base of this giant tree, kind of sizing it up. Yeah, take it away, I guess. Not so much talking. I guess I don't have a bear now.
We were supposed to we're supposed to clear them out here, but then we're also supposed to return with
Yeah, exactly.
the thing, right?
The seed.
The seed.
The elder seed, as they called it, which is they grew atop this giant tree.
Oh, that's gonna be easy to get to.
Yeah, so you kind of
Hey,
sizing
check
it
yourself.
up.
Can you fly up there and get the seed?
Ah. Funny. Not often I wish I could fly, but now could be useful, yes.
Well, Johnny, any kind of magic that you could do to get one of us up there?
Actually, if we tomorrow, we'll have a nice rest, and I can collect my magics together again, but not today.
Okay.
Why am I at this point? Just so you know.
Your magic make us fly or cut down tree?
I don't think that the latter one's an option.
Magic cut down tree, no fly, bro. Make it fly, maybe.
Okay.
I mean, the
Meantime.
other option is Miha. God damn, I keep saying Miha.
It's such
I
a good
keep
D&D
doing it.
name,
I don't know
yeah.
why.
It's
Yeah.
such a good D&D name. It just sounds like
Great
a
name.
fantasy character.
Nate. That's why. Like in my head, Nate is like the guy I work with. Right? Like,
It's just a boring US name from fucking Colorado.
But he is the guy you work with.
it's true in the game, but confused. Nate, how comfortable would you feel about climbing up there?
I mean, as long as I don't fall down. It should be good.
I think that's what I meant by how
Important.
confident are you in the climbing part, not the falling part.
I
I mean, yeah, like you can size it up if you want to kind of like give an idea of how difficult it'd be. You could do like a recall knowledge with athletics, basically. So it would be a int check, but it'd be using a recall knowledge proficiency. So it basically would.
yeah, I
Wait,
need
what?
to figure out if I
Yeah,
can-
that's actually in the rules, right? We never do it, but basically, like, so you're if you're an expert with athletics, you can basically have your proficiency bonus, but you lose like the extra bonus from the modifier. So if your modifier for int was like 4 lower than your modifier for strength, you'd be rolling knowledge with your knowledge of the athletic skill, but with like an intelligence for like weighing out the obstacles.
Oh, okay. So instead of using the strength modifier, you use
Exactly,
the int
int modifier.
Gotcha.
Athletic
Okay.
proficiency. Yes.
Oh no, I did it public.
Okay, do it blind.
Oh,
Ah,
Crystal is
we have this.
master in lead.
Yeah, he level 7. He knew to do it.
He never skipped leg day or anything. So
Yeah,
we
even
rolled
though he's got literal
Yeah.
chicken legs.
because I'm thinking that maybe I should be master in athletics too.
Yeah,
right?
I think you probably. I would imagine that you just didn't know you had a skill increase. To be honest, I'm happy to
Yeah, maybe
assume
I
that's what
forgot.
happened. And then, like when you go back, well, I'll be nice and presume you still have it and put it in athletics if you want, and then go back after and check if the numbers make sense. And if it's not, then whatever. I'd rather we be nice and Okay, Crick. So yeah, so you size it up. You know, even though you can't fly, you're very good at judging falling. So you kind of judge the hardest jumps, and you know what do you think would really be pose of difficulty. In general, oh yeah, of course you can also struggle. In general, you believe that the hardest part isn't necessarily the climb itself. There are a few bits where you think, especially when it gets high, right, and you're kind of branching the way so you can't see it so clearly. There are parts where you think it might be difficult, but realistically, it's more just you worry like the risk of falling is,
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like
Well, that's a massive
you know,
ones.
when you climb, yeah, exactly. 20 feet up, you fall, like you maybe like crack a rib at the worst. If you're at the top of this and you fall, like you're
Yeah.
falling pretty damn
Because
far.
it's
So
you said 200 feet. Because I can technically treat it like it's
no,
150.
200 meters.
Oh.
200 meters.
Oh.
It's like a giant, like magical giant tree kind of thing. Yeah.
So I can
600
treat it
feet?
like it's 200
600
meters
feet.
minus 50 feet.
So it's only 550 feet. So it'd only be from the top 275 falling damage.
Without rope, not so smart.
Yeah, exactly. You would think
and
like it's kind of thing where you see someone free climbing, like in real life, and you're like, okay, I guess you can do that, but man, if you fall, like, what's the plan here?
Yeah.
So you're like, you
True.
think like yourself, and they probably do have the skill to do it, and like you probably wouldn't fall, but if there's just a slip, a branch
But
gets
if you
loose.
did, you
If
fucked.
you did, so yeah, so you don't think it very hard, but the chance for that one is still there.
Maybe try once.
You accidentally clicked off the Nymph Queen's inspiration thingy. With right clicking.
You bastard! And I will try. I'll drag it on back to you.
There you go.
Mm,
Mm.
Yeah, you're all just kind of like standing here, just like not saying much. You're just like,
Anybody?
Yeah, I'm surveying the tree.
oh yeah, I didn't see a roll. If you wanted to roll me a similar thing.
Yeah, I'm just checking. Yeah, I should have something on master.
That'd be cool. Yeah, just bump athletics.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, bump whatever
It
you
wouldn't
want.
feel
of
right
course.
for me to be better athletics than they.
Yeah, and then you can just roll it, and I'll just minus whatever the difference between your int and your strength.
Needs a smart
Yeah,
boy.
Nate doesn't trust Betty Bird for advice about climbing. You got wings. Mm. Okay, you have a similar sort of not preconception this similar sort of thought in mind as Quicksil. You do think it would be difficult for you to mess up a jump that badly, or like not jump, but like a grab, like a reach. But of course, it's possible. It's always possible, right? And just that's part of life. And you're thinking like looking up at this thing, the height. I mean, you're not sure how many on the edge kind of movements you're gonna have to make. I'm going to say, for instance, if you're going to climb up, because this is, very big, but I'm not going to technically make it do a climb check every, 5 feet or whatever. If you want to get top, it's a total of 10 climb checks. And basically, each one represents, 20 meters or 60 feet, basically.
Okay. So looking at the tree, I'm imagining the branches are also really big. Is there a way where we can try, if we fall on top of one of these branches, so that we don't fall the entire way down? So
For sure. I would, however, say if you want to do something like that, it would be a reflex save as you land to make sure you don't kind of roll off the side. Or maybe a critical failure, you would kind of try to land well when you would say kind of roll over. But yes, it would at least provide some. So yeah, they're wide. So for sure, I mean they're easily 5 feet wide, so you could fall and land on one, and they're plenty wide enough also you could climb up and make a basically a base camp or whatever, corner them up or whatever.
Yeah, I mean I have some rope, so I guess you could use that.
Yeah, of course you could do
I
real
mean,
climbing where you kind of need
falling down is kinda insane.
Yeah,
It's like how much?
I'm kind of looking on, as you're also calculating, or you pointing at maybe there, and then go to that side, and then climb up 50 feet, and then we have another plateau. Could be doable. Willing to try.
Basically, the way climbing kits work in Pathfinder 2, and I'll say this is basically, if you use rope and time to make similar tools, is if you critically fail to climb check, you basically can do a flat check, and it's only on it's a DC 5 flat check, and on a success, you don't critically fail. Like the rope sort of, swings you out and you do it, but basically there's the chance that, you attach the python or whatever incorrectly to the wall, or, it isn't as strong, and it still is a chance, of course, of failing. Yes. It makes the chance lower again, but it is, freak accidents happen, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can try.
Not too old to climb biggest tree.
They want to join?
Yes. Hard to forget if we succeed.
climbing kit of your own with you?
Hmm. Hmm. Don't need. I'll be fine.
Okay then.
Okay then.
I've seen
Alrighty.
Mission Impossible too.
Hey now. Alright, so I guess like native Quixus are like walking towards the base of this tree.
Yeah. Hopefully, no more creatures in there. Harpies scared them away. Sure.
And I
Basically-
guess I'm not large anymore.
No, that would have gone off too. You can take that off.
Can I be healed first before I try this?
Oh, sure. So basically, the way it works,
Yeah,
you know how you
yeah.
said with like these levels. So like these kind of tame levels, which are like each like 60 feet up, like between these like big branches. Like so, if you choose to like always try to kind of head basically from one branch to another, you can basically always make it. So the max full would be this like 60 feet, and then like potentially you do the reflex save or you like full further kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I
Alright,
guess it's more it's like the
Let's
gravity.
just try. I mean, we don't want to waste the city magic tomorrow.
No, that'd be crazy. Imagine waiting till tomorrow. I mean, yeah, like I said, like you don't think it looks that hard to find. It is just potential.
Yeah, I'll look at you first, or want to watch my.
And I guess you can write the height in your character just to represent how high you get. So we'll do it in meters just because otherwise the numbers get too big. So each include is like 20 meters.
Johnny, would you mind healing us a bit before we attempt?
Of course. Been doing that, I guess.
Okay, yeah. So
And waving that.
Grab some mud. Yeah, sure. It takes a little bit of time to get both of them up, but he's quite badly injured.
Okay.
Do you have continual recovery yet?
Yeah.
Oh, you do? Okay. So
I
we'll
think
say
it
maybe
is.
like after
I think I do, right?
40 minutes or something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that. Enough time to get see both of them. Maybe you get some little food out or whatever. While you're maybe Crix or Nate talking about the climb. And yeah,
Nice.
I guess when you're ready, just whoever wants to go first, we'll kind of do like one increment at a time.
We get healed to full.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it just takes like about 40 minutes or something like that. Wait this around.
Okay. Yeah, I'll store my weapons, get all my talents.
So you're first. Should ask goodbye. Yeah.
Do you want to go first, Nate, or should I?
Don't really know. Flip a coin, maybe?
Okay, take out coin. While he's grabbing for a coin, I'll start climbing.
Okay, sweet. Okay, so Nate, you're not Nate, because you're not using any sort of rope. It's only Nate, right?
No,
Using this rope. Alright, Crystal. So you do the one to see how far up you get the first. If you make it to like the first sort of base camp, like step one.
Yeah.
I can't remember. His climbing speed is not related to my
Here,
right?
here I'm not like redoing it for technically. Okay.
I'm gonna let that stand.
You're gonna let that stand? Okay. Okay, well then let's roll a d60 to see what height up before you get to the thing. You let
Sure,
know.
yeah.
You can roll a d60.
Roll another one.
Did you roll a 1? 32. Okay, so Quicksilver gets a bit past like 30 feet up in the air. So he's like halfway up. You guys like all watching him, and yeah, you just how do you fall off a tree so quickly? Quicksilver. There's like some sap oozing out, and like you're gonna kind of grab it, and your hand kind of like sticks to it, and you always like shake it off, but you don't want to get like stuck to your wing, and you kind of like absentmindedly take off your other hand as well to like rub it off, and then there's like this split second like sort of cartoon thing where there's no hand, and then you guys see like put some sort of foot when you're like
Oh, can I
to the ground.
try and
Sorry?
do the reflex to grab an edge or something somewhere? Was that-
I need to check what it's like. Yeah, I mean the way it works right is like kind of that's when you go past like something like a branch. But I think generally like the thing is like the branches are like so big in scale, like they're more like the 60 feet thing. There isn't really. I mean handheld. Okay, you can do it to me, but it isn't quite a very easy one compared to like the climb DC. But you can give me it. You can give me it. Do you feel better with handheld? Yeah, okay, but it is a little bit harder because there aren't.
Yeah,
so,
it's a reflex save. Come on! Oh my
Okay, yeah. So you try to grapple, but we're moving too fast, and you're unable to really catch yourself. So just a normal failure. So there's no problem. Yeah. So you quickly like kind of reach back with the claws, trying to like scrape it in, but it just he fell off a little bit too far away and can't quite reach it, and slams into the ground, taking like only
15 damage?
15 or 16 actually for this half. So yeah, it's not too bad, but it doesn't fill you with a huge amount of confidence.
Yeah.
You
I was-
good there, bro?
Yes, I was
Well,
near the
let me
top.
try
Got
to-
excited. Almost there.
Okay,
Sure.
Nate,
If you want to think that way.
you
I
said you
pull
set
out,
you set up the rope and everything.
Yeah, and pull
Mhm.
out the climbing kit.
Yep.
The whole shit.
The whole shebang. Yeah, you have like the whole time kit. Yeah. Nice.
And I guess
Mhm.
it starts rolling.
Give me an athletics check. Yeah, so do one at a time basically for each platform. Like technically it would be like fucking hundreds of rules, but fuck that. But maybe I should say you can't use fucking hero points like that. Nah, that's stupid. Okay, yeah. So yeah, you quite swiftly, and you obviously you're taking your time, using the rope, so you go a little bit slower than Quicksilver because you're making sure to, like we hit it in every few meters, and I get Quicksilver to the bottom, like holding the other end of it to provide the leverage. But no, you make it quite smoothly to the top of like the 60-foot branch. Now you kind of like pull yourself up, and it's like a 5-foot. Maybe the down here is even like maybe like 10 or 15 foot like kind of wide branch, which you're like kind of standing on. And yeah, you kind of like look down at the others below you. Could you like 60 feet or like I can do it actually, but you can do it in the future. I'm gonna write that on too. Remember, look at this crazy thing. I have the ruler now that measures elevation. Whoa, it's like the
How does that
big, it's
even
like the
work?
best shit I've ever seen. It's like amazing.
But what do you
I
have?
don't, I
This
don't see
ruler
you.
like measures height. See, like look. So like, oh, you don't see? Okay, do the ruler measurement thing with
Yeah.
yourselves in, and then like you can see that like
Ah.
but do it from Nate, and Nate is now 60 feet up, right? If you measure Nate's distance like to Quicksilver, then it like counts that shit in.
Oh my
70
god.
feet. We
Now
don't
finally
have to
you
do
can
Pythagoras.
you can do aerial battles without wanting to kill yourself now. Pog.
Or underwater combat, I guess, yeah.
Insane, lad.
Insane.
What
But
a
anyway,
bonus.
yes, Nate, you make it up without a problem.
Yeah, is Quicksil climbing up again or?
Yeah, he kind of looks
I've been
down.
waiting for you. I'm assuming you're being pretty careful with like the handholds and stuff. But if you're like looking down, guess I'll be looking up. Need help?
I mean, there's still rope, I guess, behind me, right? So Quicksil could
Yeah, there's like still the bit of
have an
climbing. To be
easier time
honest,
following
it's
me.
not. I mean, it's very easy to climb. Like when you're actually doing it, like you think like the tree
The
is
rope wouldn't help
almost
that much.
like climbing 60 feet by rope. It's not like an easy thing, right? Like you have to treat to brace yourself against. But it really wouldn't help that much. I'm saying, I mean, just so you know, a trained athletics climb, a rope in a tree is the same. It's very easy climb. Like it's really like Pixel would have succeeded if if that one wasn't an auto failure or whatever. You know what I mean?
I'll look at Johnny and say, I'm going again.
Good luck. Try better.
Yeah,
You can do
okay.
this.
Okay, getting approval. Crixel's feeling it. I'll try and hurry after
That's
Nate.
approval work.
Good luck.
Okay, you scamper up, barely even using the, not even using the whip. It's like right there. It's like show you which way to go. But no, yeah, you quickly make your way up.
I use my wings to fly, but pretend that I'm actually climbing.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you're both 60 feet up.
Nicely done. So I guess we
Yeah,
continue.
if you want to like speed it up a bit, but obviously R10, you can just roll it. You could roll like a remaining just 90 20s, and it is now you kind of like know, like only on a nat one you fail. You kind of get that feeling.
Yeah.
So you can basically just roll that, and then we see at what height you fall. And yeah, those you on the ground, kind of like looking up and like kind of like.
I'll do a salute to Nate. Captain, you go first.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll catch
so
you.
90-20.
Yeah, then yeah,
Let's
so yeah,
go.
Nate's kind of leading the path as the.
See
Ooh, I
one
see a
there.
couple
Two
ones.
ones.
Yeah, 2 1s. Okay, but we see the first one. Okay, so the third one. So you're 120 feet up, and you're starting to climb. You made it to like the second base camp, and then give me a D60 to see how high up the third base camp you are.
Mhm.
Okay, so 6. So you're 126 ground of ground, but you're only 6 feet, kind of like from this big branch. You kind of like like set up, as like like your vest point. So actually, you take like no falling damage. You basically just like full 6 feet. I'm not even saying you need to do the reflex save because you're like 45 feet off the fucking branch basically. So you kind of just like land kind of on it, and you feel fine. You don't take any damage, but you
Yeah,
just
because I have cats full.
you have cat forward well. Oh,
Yeah.
amazing.
I don't see any
Like
ones.
Trixil. Oh, but yeah, you so maybe Okay, so I guess we'll use the remaining of Nate. Maybe I should have made Nate because then he gets another one though.
Yeah, I have another.
Alright. I think after the first one, you just have to like stop it and re-roll, right?
I guess so. Yeah. Sure. Okay, but Chris always say like, yeah, you kind of when he forced you decide to like start leading, and you're like kind of smoothly getting all the way up. I would say when you get near the top, the branches get a lot, it kind of narrows a lot and becomes more like a normal tree. It gets very narrow at the top, and at the point you're saying like you could maybe use a grab and edge reaction, but there isn't so much like landing on a giant branch to like save you. Once you get past like the
Yeah,
100-meter point, it starts to like not really feasible to
yeah.
single
I'm not
down.
looking down. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
coming on
Yeah.
high enterprise.
Okay, Nick, give me a new like I guess it would be 70-20s. Do after you're full, basically, you start trying it up again. No, there's a close call when you're like maybe a couple of feet off the end. But no, after at this point it's probably taking you about half an hour, right? You're being pretty careful. You're setting up rope as you go. Those who are on the ground, you're kind of just like up and watching, but you kind of just have to wait as they're kind of short by the branches. And yes, as you get to the top, basically you're now like, it's just like a normal tree size, like 5 feet wide trunk at the top, swaying it quite heavily in the wind. Like when you're at the base, the movement is very, very small. But when you're at the top, it's, it really makes you feel a little queasy. Maybe it's, well, maybe not. Maybe it reminds you a little bit about being on the water, with the wind kind of moving you back and forth.
I don't know the Crixel's feeling queasy, but I am.
Okay, wow, that's impressive. But no, as you get up there, in fact, like, when you're like 20 feet away, you actually see at the top of this, almost like at the top of the trunk, where the I don't know, just there's got to be a word for that where like meets at the top, whatever. At the
Where you
tip,
put the Christmas
exactly
star.
where you put the Christmas tree, the tip of the no, where you put the Christmas tree, when you put the Christmas star, at the tip of it, you see that actually, and also as you get closer, you see almost these kind of like vines or like just like this kind of green sort of like very vibrant sort of plant life, almost like kind of like circling around the trunk, and it starts maybe when you're like 50 to 100 feet away from the top. And at the top, kind of perched on, very much like they start on a Christmas tree, it's this maybe I mean, it's giant for a seed, but it's not like insanely big. Maybe a fist, maybe something about this size, but like kind of like a oval and oblong, like a seed. Light green and like almost like the amount of just like I mean I don't know Nate. I don't know where I need to check if any of you are. Yeah, Nate, you're trained in nature, and like it's not like you and so you Crixel. It's not like there's anything like anything specific about this, but you can almost feel just like the kind of primal energy almost like radiating off this, like as like some sort of like a kind of hugely attuned with nature item. And yeah, it is just like almost, but it also looks almost like a berry, like when it's ripe, and you can kind of see like the bit where it connects to the plant is kind of like more like kind of dried out, almost like you could just like like lift up and kind of like pull it off.
I'd imagine it's only one.
Yeah, there's
One.
only one. Yes, it's almost like it's almost like looking at it that the tree has grown down from it. Like it's different to like a normal seed where like the seed would do it and then the tree would grow up. It's almost like this had the tree coming out the bottom.
Is it a problem if we remove it?
It looks a bit uncanny.
Yes,
So-
feels like first world.
Yeah. To think anything will happen if we tear it off.
Village asked us to. They worship it. Must be okay.
That to think they do that regularly or just I mean could convince others to do it for them.
I like imagine just swaying back and forth in the wind, like holding up with the
Yeah.
alive as you're like chatting.
I mean I
Oh, yeah.
guess we're taking it, right? And then I'll reach for it and I guess
Yeah. To pluck it from the
pull
top.
it, yeah, pluck it.
Yeah.
For the
You,
tree instantly dies.
The tree crumbles to ash balloon. No. Yeah, you pull it in. Yeah, you are like kind of waiting for a second as you like kind of you wonder what is going to happen. As you hold it, it almost like thrums, just like with I don't know, like you. It's hard to describe because I don't think stuff isn't like this in the real world. But it's just like the amount of like life force exuding from it. Like you can almost feel just like your body like want. It almost feels like you want to grow. like I don't know how to describe it, but like it almost like you tingle, like you maybe get some like aches in your muscles, like maybe slightly, like the hand is in it. It's almost like even a little bit like growing pains, maybe, even though it's been many years since Nate had them.
You got
But the tree,
zero pain.
it looks pretty like undisturbed. Like the vines, which were like kind of leading up to this at top, where it looked like it first kind of grew down, are still like green. They like maybe lose a little bit of vibrancy if you kind of stay there a little bit looking at them, but they don't die or anything like that.
Yeah, I'll regarding Nate as he's holding this seed, I'm like, what would happen if you ate it?
Um,
Maybe one bite. They
I don't
won't
know.
notice.
Yeah, are you sure? Is there like man, what's the word? A shell around it?
Oh, sorry.
Sure.
Is is
Uh,
there a shell around it?
Yeah, kind of.
Or,
Like you can kind of see, like like
or
there's
is
like
it
a little bit
soft?
of a shell with like where it was connected to the bottom, or like kind of a little bit. It's kind of like I don't know, not like a pistachio, but that kind of thing where there's like a hard shell, and then the tree was growing out of like a crack in the bottom. So you think, yeah, potentially like you would be like triumph like a shell, and it would be still pretty big inside, so it wouldn't be like. And it's also like a seed, right? I'm not sure how seeds normally work, but like generally like a seed for it to grow, it can't like bite into little pieces, for instance, right? For it to actually like do anything. But of course, depending on what you think it will do or what will happen, you could do something. But
I think we should bring it down first, and then we'll figure out what to do with it.
Best not to drop it.
It feels funny though. Here, try it.
you kind of like pass it to it, you come down. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It just exudes its vitality. Like you see, like as you walk down, like the branches and the leaves near it, like, almost like kind of like turn towards it and like turn more green and vibrant. Like yeah, like it clearly had some sort of primal power to it.
Okay.
Yeah. It feels like I would grow taller. Just
Exactly.
got younger, then could get taller now. A new name.
already have new body. Maybe make it better.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But first, we should just try to get back down.
Yeah, I'll try and like secure it like in one of my pouches.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
And then
You
look
have
down.
plenty of evidence.
Didn't think about
Yeah.
way down.
Yeah, don't look down too much.
Don't look down too much.
I mean, in the end, it's almost like a mast of a ship,
Could say. Do you have enough max HP that if you were to take the quick way down, you'd survive?
Hell no.
No, not a chance. It's like 300 full damage.
Yeah.
Good point. Well, I was thinking, just, like, technically, then, if you had like 151 HP
Yeah, then
and you
you'd
were
be
max
alright.
HP, we'd be fine.
Then you'll be alright.
But,
Then you'll be
Yeah.
alright.
Yeah.
So I got like half that.
And by fine, I mean plastered on the floor, but could be revived.
So let's see.
Can you believe?
Trying to reach water doesn't help as much.
Can you believe Altair did not come?
Have you seen my arms?
But
Our
So I
I'm
guess,
gonna
yeah, you start to climb down.
yeah, climbing down
will
would
say,
be
like-
like the same as before.
climbing down is actually, I would say, like you can almost with the climbing kit, if you really want to take your time, you can almost like kind of like lower each other down, and you're pretty confident you don't even need to do a check. It's more just like you were just like using gravity to help you down, and the rope is your safety line.
I'll do it if Nate asks me to.
Okay, I guess you're not doing
I mean-
it.
You do you, man.
So give me 10
If
d20s.
you want.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
You have a new character ready?
Yeah, he's just
Hell
wanting
no.
5, 2, actually 2 or 4, 5. No, Crystal, there's a couple of points where you're like, maybe the
Two at the end,
a good
yeah.
idea. The 2's at the end, exactly. You get a bit lazy at the end as you see everyone else kind of waiting at the bottom, and you almost at your feet sleep, but you quickly catch yourself not wanting to make an embarrassment. And yeah, you were on the ground, the both of you.
How was it, bro?
Mm, I'm imagining the view was amazing, right?
It was insane. Yeah. You saw you could almost see this jungle surrounded out around you like a little map. You can even see the mountains in the distance to the east, the shadowed range kind of starting to rise high above into the clouds. It was lovely.
Yeah, you
It was
can
okay.
see a lot of trees.
Saw our destination.
Yeah, quite far away, the mountains.
Did we see more? I don't know. Was it hard to see the river through the thickets?
This point is quite hard because the river's so narrow, right? It's 20 feet wide at the bit where you're currently
Sure.
at. If you kind of
But it wasn't
look
any
further to
obvious
Sorry?
obstacles or more big waterfalls or anything. That we could see
No,
from
nothing,
this
nothing
position.
nothing giants you can see from hundreds or even
Right,
miles
right,
away.
right.
No Niagara Falls or anything like that. No. If there are smaller ones, it's probably more similar to the one you just saw, where it's maybe 100 feet, and it's kind of hard to tell over the train.
Okay.
I mean, you are also a couple of days.
Yeah, and I'll retrieve the seed. Gonna hold it to the other two. It's warm. Alive?
That's
most
good. I'm
seeds
pretty
are,
sure
I
that they
think,
wanted it alive.
Did not drop. Break shell.
You did not.
Good. Good work.
I'm gonna put it in your hands out there. So get the sense.
Yeah, you also do feel it. It is quite a strange feeling. As you kind of drain out your ground, you see the grass around you almost kind of move as if in the wind. It almost seems if any you look down, it almost seems to grow a little bit towards where Elcher's holding it. Very not quickly or anything, but if you're very observant, you almost can see it.
I think this belongs with our druid. And
yeah,
You
quite
pass it over
fun.
to the water druid.
Oh,
Yeah,
funny.
Johnny,
Other thing,
as you take it,
are
it does the
we,
same.
are we giving it back or not?
of course. Why would we not?
I mean, we could grow ourselves a tree like this. Imagine the ships we could build.
I kind of gesture broadly to the entire jungle around us.
Think of
I don't think that's too.
Yeah, but some wood is not like other wood,
This is a very special tree. It's true. There aren't that many trees like this around. This is quite.
Also,
rare.
still.
But then
waterfall,
it's
too.
also it would be a shame to cut such
Very
a tree
true.
down. That'd be an unforgivable sin, that what's her fucking face from WoW would do.
True. Anyone who wants to write can roll nature, see if they can now you're on the ground, you can focus a bit more on it. You can roll nature and see if you can understand any more about what is. If you've ever heard of such a seed before, such trees, or blah 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 blah.
Oh.
So,
I got no training
Could
in
you
nature.
could you build a ship that would repair itself, go back if it took damage?
It
What
would
if
grow in
I-
the shape of a tree.
A
No?
living ship.
That would be interesting.
I've
I
heard,
remember hearing tales once of, powerful Elden wizards who could have trees use their magic to make trees grow into specific shapes, but that seems even beyond that. That was
Yeah,
more simple
I mean-
shapes.
I mean, the trees always grow where they can, right? So if there's rocks in the way, then they would grow around the rocks, right? So
Mhm.
I guess you could
Make
shape
shape
the
out of
tree
rocks.
by, yeah.
Okay. So Crixo, you're the only one who's trying to. No one else cares.
I don't have nature trained, so I don't even know if I can.
Yeah, I'm not blaming you. No, it's fine. Crixo, you're holding it. You were very interested. It was your seed. You plucked it. Oh no, it was Nate's seed. You plucked it.
Mhm.
I've not heard of anything quite like this before. But your nature, your not. I mean, your knowledge of just natural art and primal energies. You do believe, similar to how Nate was explaining, that eating it, if it did have some sort of power, you think you probably have to almost maybe if you took off the shell, you almost have to try to swallow it whole if you could. Your birds maybe it'd be easier for you. It'd probably be an orange slice. It would kind of it's oblong, so just swallowing a giant pill, you would imagine. But you think it would probably whatever this power has, you think it could be like kind of activated by being eaten, but you have no idea what sort of, what it would do beyond that.
We could use it.
So, did they say what they do with it in the village? Maybe the elder eats it, or something like that.
You're very surprised if that's the case.
And becomes Nutri?
Who knows? These are strange people who live here.
I have
Who knows
another
what they're up to.
I
bad
think
idea.
They would say the same of us. Suppository? Is that your bad idea?
Kind of like take out the necklace on my chest. I wonder how these.
Oh
Rat-
shit! Is that the soul stealing necklace or whatever it was?
The
evil
life
necklace.
stealing, you know.
Are you trying to steal the?
I don't
Please
know.
don't.
Let's keep those far apart, maybe.
Could be useful, but probably wrong.
Oh shit!
Yes.
Oh my god!
I think before we
removed
get any more
the
maybe
flask.
bad ideas, we should go back and deliver this to the people we promised to bring it to.
Is there a way to undo the or find the Queen's blessing, whatever it was?
Aye, another one.
Isn't there? Can't you just look it
You
up?
lost it?
Yeah, I just removed it because I
Can't you
thought
just
it was
control
guidance.
anything nymph, queen's blessing?
Oh, I may have done that as well, huh?
Yeah, you should be able to find it in the effects or drag it on. It's called the Nim Screen Inspiration, but like,
Oh, thank
Yep,
you.
yep, yep, yep.
you find yourself, find it.
Would it be under
I
spell
got it.
effects, other
You can
effects?
just
Do you know where
control
it would be?
space it and just type Nim
Oh,
Screen
okay.
and it pops
I
up.
always forget control space.
Yeah, it's the best. Okay, LT is trying to convince you to be boring people. It's fine, it's fine.
Oh,
It's funny
I
that
kid,
that's
I kid.
kind of like
Relatively
his job,
agree.
apparently.
I kid. Yeah, you put it back in your pouch, Crixel, and yeah. So you remember the guy basically, camped out just like an hour or two away. Didn't want to get too close in case it was dangerous. So you think you probably make it just about back to him, and right now it's about like 6:30, so it is starting to be a bit late. But you imagine he probably at least just camped in that area.
You could still make it back before like nightfall, right?
To him, yes, but not back to like the actual camp itself.
Oh,
Because
how
that was,
long
like,
is
a couple-
the camp?
That was like a 1 full day of travel. So you think you
Oh,
can get there like the next day? Yeah. That was like a good few miles off of the river line. But yeah, you make it back to him. You see like a small, fire. He's like cooking up some fish that he was like brought with from the river. And he kind of sees you approach. It's like you did it.
Got seed. Defeated harpies.
Good. You have it now.
So I may have missed this earlier. Did we get healed
Yeah.
back to full?
Yeah.
Okay. Kind of assumed that, but I just realized I didn't
Yeah.
ever do it on my
I
character.
just know it. So yeah.
By the way, we were wondering, what do we do with the seed then in the village? Asking the guide.
Give a diplomacy check.
Yes.
It's like we give it to our village's druid, but beyond that, I will not say. Not my place to say.
Okay, no problem. It's really not my place to ask. Just curious.
Maybe others will say, but I cannot.
Yeah.
Okay. And he says like we believe in more. And you see it already like set up, a little like bubble into whatever to prevent from the vein.
Miss Cooper's dinner already.
But he kind of see, but where seed kind of like looks around.
We have it.
And puts out his hand.
Why?
We were tasked with bringing it back directly to the elder.
He kind of frowns. Doesn't say anything. He kind of like lowers his hand, and then goes back to tending the fire.
Can I sense motive?
Yeah.
Is he like
Master
licking his lips
perception.
like he's about to eat that thing?
Oh wow, it's okay. Yeah, you've learned a lot about reading people. They always react so strangely to birds, so you've got to see to see the tricks. Yeah, based on the body language, and also when Nate was asking about what it is used for. Clearly, it is maybe something private. You're not sure. At least it's something which is sacred or meaningful to the village. And you think
It's just like,
even
he
even
doesn't
it
want
being in
it.
the hands of outsiders, exactly, he believes it should belong to the village. It is the village's, and even if you were tasked with getting it there, in his mind, he is the village, and bringing it back could be bringing it to him. But of course, you can interpret it a different way.
Okay.
And yeah, but then doesn't say very much more, and yeah, you have a quiet evening in the jungle.
Yeah, I don't think that's enough for me to give it to him. Fuck that guy.
No. Yeah, sure. Meaning. He's
Chris
all
is
your
making
photos in the
dinner.
night,
He's doing shavings of elder seed onto his food.
just a little.
Okay, then we can quickly go through the night, which is quiet unless there's anything else that Neil wants to do or discuss.
Definitely keep
in
a
the
watch
evening.
though.
Sure. Yeah. I assumed. Yeah, you see, if you're keeping edge a bit, every so often he does kind of glance towards you, Quicksilver, just because you are shady. You're a bird. Don't trust birds. No, he actually glances over every time. You think he's probably trying to figure out who has it, but it's kind of very hard to tell. It isn't that big, but yeah, he seems a little suspicious. But he
I'll
doesn't say anything.
as he eyes me, I'll cock my head and be like, I understand. Mostly, we also from small village, a lot of enemies, but not all outsiders are bad. We are helping.
Birds eat seed often. That why look you.
I'll be honest, it crossed my mind, but didn't do.
You see his eyes go wide a little bit because you kind of you've been studying him. It's
Mhm.
Could you not do?
That was a
You're not
joke,
sure if he
mostly.
means
Yeah.
good for. It's
Because the seed is safe or because good
yeah,
for like
A laser
it's
warning
hard
or something?
to tell.
Yeah, I said,
It doesn't seem. It doesn't seem. So he means more you're unsure if he means good for you, it was a good thing you
Yeah.
did, or if it was good for the town, or which one.
What if
question on that. What would happen if he was? He won't, and I won't let him. But if he was, what would
Unless-
happen then?
Give me a diplomacy check. It's public.
There's our man, right? You got this. Oh,
I mean, 18's
Not a
still
great
not bad for people who
Yeah.
normal.
Sure.
So he frowns and doesn't say anything for a little bit, and it's he would change.
In good way or bad way?
Kind of looks you Quicksilver, but then nod. Good way.
how would he turn into a tree?
he's still nodding.
It's kind of nodded a little bit still. In some way, yes.
So this seed grows into a tree like this, right?
Mm.
And I point at the the tree.
Yeah, back in, yeah. Yes.
So how often is a new seed made by the tree?
When time right, not often. Few years depend on seasons, weather.
Oh, so then you plant the new seed and or a new tree or not?
Then it become new tree. Yes.
So the previous tree, did that used to be a person who had to eat the seed?
Kind of frowns to you. He's like, in some way, we all become tree.
Right, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. I
Dust to
understand
dust.
that.
Yes.
See this
So,
happening.
yeah,
Yes.
avoiding the answer. So,
Yes.
if let's say we were to take this seed back to our village,
He
and
kind of immediately kind of like, gets on edge a bit. No, our seed.
yeah, but
No.
I'm just speaking hypothetically, right? And then plant the seed and grow a tree like yours. So in like a symbol of our friendship, right?
Kind of frowns a bit. Need strong druid to nurture tree.
Oh, you mean like Johnny here?
He kind of frowns. He druid. He blue, not green.
Yeah,
Druid
but,
with the water.
A druid of the sea.
He kind of frowns at this notion. No plants in sea.
There are many plants, but I believe most plants.
It's a lot of
No trees in
sea.
sea.
Sea is
No
very
trees.
green.
yeah,
Not trees as you
Depends-
see here.
It depends on your definition of tree.
trees also
His,
need.
his knowledge of this language
Right.
isn't the best. He's kind of like, my perception tree.
Yeah.
It's like,
Trees
no
also
tree
need
like that. He kind of points back to
Oh.
the big tree.
You are correct there.
He's not close by. Who knows what's out
Maybe
there?
you grow it into a new tree, but not as splendid as this tree.
Of course not.
That's a challenge.
Maybe we should talk.
That's about everyone is like kind of
That's right.
confrontational about this thing.
Like he wants us to take it. Like
You gotta found. If you
And
think
I'll
you
tell
can,
you,
then
like,
if
no.
you think you can, then eat and you see.
I think we'll just deliver it
Good.
back to your elder. I think that's maybe the best bet.
Best bet.
Best course of action is to fulfill our promise. Right? Right?
Agree.
I agree.
Only
Like kind of nod to everyone. Like please do yes.
You do not appreciate the nature like we do all the time.
No, I do, but not at the cost of our word.
I will not eat it. Angu have to leave nest, not grow roots.
Birds should be in trees, not become them.
No birds on me.
Okay, he seems very on edge for the rest of the night. While he sleeps, he's like, takes his bag a little bit further away and kind of, watches you a little bit. But yes, the night passes. Is there anything anyone wants to do surreptitiously during the night, or does the morning arrive?
I want to eat it. No.
No.
You said
no,
you
no.
were
I was gonna say, like, I try to remember the order of watch that we normally
We wrote it. I
do.
wrote down in a note. It is
Yeah.
Nate, Crystal, Outer, Johnny, Cooper. Well, he's taking the day off. But yeah, Nate, Crystal, Outer.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
I
Babble
might
the
try to
voice.
offer to take it first, and then I try to hide the seed from my own party.
Yeah. Yeah, if you want, you can try to steal it off Crystal and put it somewhere else. If that's what you would like to do, it would be I guess a.
Yeah, we saw that you just put it in
Something
one of
you
your
into?
bags, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
to be honest, I'm pretty sure you could just take it from a sleeping person. I'm not gonna make you do a check to just sit there and
Yeah,
step on it or something.
I don't
That's
think I would
crazy.
be like
You
cuddling
sleep
with
it
it
on
or
your
something.
body, exactly right. I'm assuming if it's at your pack or whatever, then it's just at near your bedroll. Cool. Yeah, you can hide it wherever you wish after.
I just put it into my bag, basically.
Of course. Trix, another question is: on your watch, would you check if the seed is still there?
No, in Crystal's mind, all of our differences have been talked over. I fully trust this native, and of course, my party. Why would they want to see it?
Why would they want to do? Oh yeah, so yeah, you don't even think of checking that it's still there. It's
Yeah.
completely fine, of course. And yes, in the morning, yeah, the guy seems to be quite eager to set off quickly. Wanting to be home, and Gone off you, or good off you. Yeah, so you set off back the way you came, and you quite easily through the day's travel. It's a little drizzly today, and sort of bugs and insects and the slugs and everything a little problematic, but nothing a few hard and seasoned jungle wilderness explorers can't handle. And yes, you eventually, the sun is starting to go down. Moving forward a whole day. It is maybe about 8 p.m. even when you make it back. You kind of pushed on a bit into the dark to kind of make it there, and you see kind of like the fires of like these wooden huts lighting the way. And yeah, he kind of like leads you through the village directly towards the main hut.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
and
we'll
that's,
just go straight there.
kind of see Nate kind of just like having it like kind of sitting with like his feet kind of like dangling off the side into the water, just like having
Cooper.
having something. Yeah, what did I say?
Please.
Nate. I'm like, Nate's name is so easy to say. You see Cooper, I was like, Nate's just having a beer. You see Cooper, yeah, just like chilling out, almost just having like a drink of some suspicious liquid, which I guess he's begun to trust, considering he's like defenseless here anyway.
He's still alive. Good.
Oh, you kind of see, well, great, you're back. Oh, good. I mean, the beer isn't bad actually, but still, would miss being home eventually.
Did you try the tea?
Yeah, I mean, when you were gone and I thought they could, I guess, kill me at any point if they wished, it kind of made me a bit more relaxed, strangely, about the whole situation. So, it was, I mean, not really my taste, but he kind of shrugs, it was alright. But you got it. It was like a big seed, right? You were going for? I remember you said.
No, we found it.
Yeah.
Well, they
Yeah,
did.
but we don't have it anymore.
What?
I think
You don't
it
have it
during the
anymore?
night. Disappeared during the night.
No, it is right here. And I kind of look over the pouch.
Okay, we got it. Let's go. And
He was like- he was like-
I'm like not letting anyone like talk
Okay,
about
yeah,
it
yeah.
anymore. We're like,
The guy
let's
that
go.
didn't even stop
We gotta
looking,
get
kind of like
back.
looking back, like Jess, hurry up. And then you make
Yeah.
your way in, and you see
I'll run up to Altair. Altair, problem. Seed gone. I
I've
maybe
got it,
lost
don't
it
worry.
in. Oh. Did not
I-
trust me? I was joking about eating.
I took it when I kind of gesture up towards our guide and I'm like, when we didn't fully trust him.
He didn't
He
know.
kind of knew
not
you
know
had
I
it.
had it.
I mean,
was
it
very
was fairly
subtle.
obvious.
Was I?
I thought it was.
Bad at lying. Need to play that game more.
Yes, liar's dice.
true.
I'm a D&D.
Yeah, okay, and then you follow him, like, yeah, the guy is basically now, like, kind of holding open, like, the entrance to this, hut, and this you kind of, like, see inside, yeah, you see, Zola, what's her name, Zola Nika, the elder of this, clan, and she's, like, basically sitting at a table, she's kind of, like, seems to finish her dinner at some point, now, kind of, like, reading or / writing in, like, a large book.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, she kind of sees you, and she enters and, like, closes it, and stands up, kind of like, well, you have got it.
Yes, the harpies have been taken care of, and these two, and I gesture back towards Kirksel and Nate, were able to secure the seed from the tree. And I start pointing out of my bag.
Nice, yeah, she kind of,
Put it
like,
on the table before her.
yeah. Oh, and she kind of, her eyes, they don't go wide, but sure, maybe she had seen before, but she suddenly, like, looks at it with, respect and, like, what's the right word? I don't know. Not apprehension, that's not wrong. She doesn't look scared of it, but just, like you're looking at something very important. Reverence. Thank you. I'm glad all those non-native English speakers know speak English words.
It's hard on the DMC though.
Right. Yeah, and she kind of actually you see her call back in Mwangi. She said something. You catch one word, just sounds like a name, Amara. And yes, somebody else who you actually kind of saw was like kind of like sitting in like almost like a old like rocking chair at the back. You hadn't kind of noticed she was like not in very good light. She's fairly old for sure. She kind of like stands forward and she kind of like slowly sort of like hobbles a little bit over.
She
And
dressed
they,
in
like,
green skin.
No, not green skin. She dark skinned like most of the clan here.
Okay.
Dressed in green.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but a lot of the people here are kind of dressed in kind of green. They seem to have, some sort of reverence, the forest at large. But she does have like, a green robe around her, like a shawl almost. And yet she says something also in Mwangi to her, back to Zola, and Zola kind of nods and kind of looks to the four of you. I guess Cooper in the background as well. And she's like, well, I admit, You have done much to prove friendship. This is something we could not do without. And we were running low on time, and eventually we would have had to send our own at risk their lives in a battle they may not win. She kind of like sits down again and kind of she gestures to Amara to like, and Amara like kind of like takes it at you and kind of like goes into like kind of back room of the seat. And she's like, kind of looks for you thoughtfully, and she's like, and what you say about this small, she kind of is an eyebrow, trade route. You promise that is the whole of the matter.
I'm looking at that there on this one.
I said, as much as we know, and we will, when we return to our employer, would tell them as such that it must remain small.
He kind of nods slowly. Give me one more diplomacy check out then.
Public again?
Yep.
Oh my god, I'm gonna re-roll it.
Mm.
Okay.
That's better.
Yeah, she kind of nods slowly. It's like, then I think we should at least come to some sort of arrangement. Perhaps there's a way it can also benefit my clan. We also sometimes do trade. Not much, but perhaps it's a sign we could do more. I of course want prosperity like any leader.
Our
They will.
boss,
Hmm.
probably no ill intent. No, I'm thinking about it.
Give me a diplomacy check, Quicksilver. I love it.
It's +0, baby.
Okay. It could be a lot. Could be worse. Yeah, she kind of frowns at that, and she kind of like says, "If you are not sure of such a thing."
Kind of like shrink back into the room.
The frowns like, if they do, they will meet here. Not what they are looking for. While we may not be able to defend ourselves entirely, we can easily make the way unpassable for such ships, such boats. We can crush them below the waters.
I mean,
And that is our intention, right? Is when we return, assuming we make it, find what we are looking for, and make the return journey, is that we tell our employer what we found, but there's a way through or there isn't, right? And then also that they will need to negotiate with you and your tribe for safe passage between and over the waterfall or around. I don't know how that will work yet.
yeah. I don't really see a way beyond this waterfall without your help and assistance.
I do not either.
So I don't think anyone could. I mean, you use this trade route without your consent or help, right? So
That is the only reason why I would begin to think you would not betray us. Then, if we need, or you need us, and we can help you, and you have shown that, at least for now, you mean us no harm, then for at least now, I can agree to talk, to discuss with this employer of yours, to find a way that we can do this together.
Excellent.
Not. And then she
we would need the passage first.
she nods. Yes, I will let you pass for now.
Thank you.
In the morning, I will arrange for those who have the power to begin their work.
I've got the power.
Exactly.
Do we
You should
do
be
we know
able
their
to
name
pass.
already?
Her name. Yes,
Yeah.
it is Zola Anika.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah. And the name of the village? Do we know that?
It's called the Nuzuri clan. You're not sure if the village
Nuzuri
itself
clan.
is like the Nuzuri village, or like if they have it. They probably have a name for the Morangi, but there isn't
Yeah, that should be
a
enough.
wording
Yeah,
from
okay.
it. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Then she said, then And she kind of like stands up and she offers like kind of like it's like a handshake, except it's more like you kind of like clasp like the hand like kind of like next to somebody, like you almost like do this with the hand like kind of hold like bring the person close, like not a hug, but like a closer form of a handshake. And she kind of like does it to each you in one, and kind of like really stares you in the eye as you do it. To like and you, I mean, she and she is fairly old, she is an elder, but you still think like, of course she couldn't really hurt you, but you wouldn't really want to be on her bad side. And yeah.
Sure.
And she said, then, yes, be ready in the morning to continue your journey. And she kind of like, nods at the doorway.
I fly out of there.
Get the hell out.
We leave, I guess.
You leave? Cool. And Cooper was always kind of like just waiting outside, kind of like, maybe listening a little bit, wasn't really like inside.
Mhm.
And he like, oh, all right, well, good work, guys, I guess. So you managed it. But, who you want to chat to?
So do you think we have leave to explore the village? Or,
Cooper kind of sort of like shrugs, and he's like, I mean, I've been here for the past couple of nights, so he kind of no one really gave me leave, but I did wander around a little.
did you talk to somebody? Anybody? I guess. They give you food at
Play
least?
cards with a couple of guys. Luckily, I mean, it's a language everyone speaks, I guess. Though they have some funny pictures on this.
Hmm.
Do they have money?
Yeah. You got a nice. I don't, so it was kind of didn't help so much with the gambling, but we were just playing for fun. They seemed, I guess, to find it interesting to play with a foreigner. I guess I don't see many of me. I mean, I spoke a few words with them, but most of them don't speak that much of a common.
So
Ah.
do they have any interesting things to maybe trade with? I mean, buy?
Oh, yeah,
Something?
part of the no money thing. I didn't really check the shops. He kind of shrugs. I mean, I guess maybe. I mean, he kind of. I did. They have like a kind of not cafeteria, a kitchen where most of the clan meet to eat communal meals. I did take a peek at that. It's some interesting looking spices and herbs. I wouldn't mind getting a few of those for the trip. Not sure how much it would cost if they don't sell them very much to people.
Hmm.
Beyond that, I guess we could buy provisions and stuff in, but I mean, they don't seem to have
New
that
recipes.
much of a. Yes,
But,
they do. I did see a cookbook by the smiling person on the front, with a frying pan, but it was written in Wangi, so unless we can figure out how to speak it, I don't think I'll know 101 exotic recipes from the Wangi expanse quite yet.
so do their locals what? Do they take gold as payment or like our coins?
Yeah. I mean, I saw some of their coins. They look a little different, but they're made of at least one dice with silver. So I guess as long as ours also, have some intrinsic value, they'll probably be willing to trade.
Hmm.
Like the way currency works in the world, Nate. It's like they make it always super easy in fantasy stuff. Gold is gold,
Yeah.
and maybe technically when you trade, like they have like bigger gold coins, and you say, oh, 5 of our gold is like 1 of your gold. All this kind of little technicalities is kind of like just hand waved to say stuff. But yeah, they probably look slightly different, and they probably like milled, much more roughly, and maybe like higher quality gold, but like much smaller gold pieces, kind of thing.
Hmm.
I will not try my luck. Already said enough here.
I mean, I would mind buying some spices for the way, but
Yeah.
not sure if can afford. I mean,
I don't think that. I
can
mean, I can
afford a
haggle
lot.
about spices at least. That's one thing I can haggle about. And I'm sure, I mean, it can't be that much. I'll tell them if we want to share the intricacies of the Morangi Palace across, just the seven seas. I'm sure we can convince them. Every chef wants to see people enjoy his food.
I
Or
mean,
her
then
food.
I guess then you can
Okay, he kind
tap
of hands.
in and ask about the prices.
Sure. He kind of like hands it out to an arm. It's like, I mean, it's gold speaks more than me, Just like, yeah, puts his hand in your direction, mate.
He's looking at his goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like,
I have 7 gold pieces, but
Such rich circle of characters.
Yeah, I have 14.
Oh, 14. He's like,
You are the
gold.
richest, I think.
Gold or 2. I'm sure I can get something. I'm going to go to the bathroom while we discuss how much money spent on spices.
Yeah,
I would say not more than 2.
of course.
Yeah.
I was maybe
I mean,
if
but
I
that's
can
maybe
exchange
the
my hatchet or something.
the book as well might
It's
be more
make.
gold. The recipes we should get, no?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, we can then sell. Oh, we can then sell the
Gonna
spices
open up a Mwangi
in the shackles.
restaurant back in the Shackles.
Well,
Uh,
part of
I
exploring
didn't
is
enjoy
we learn
the food
things
that
others
much.
don't.
True.
Yes, no tea. Unnecessary.
Yeah, but we could sell the exotic spices in the shackles, or at least in Sango. Maybe could make a profit. What do you guys think? Mm,
Sound like merchant.
yeah, I mean, aren't
I think
we-
maybe we do that on the way back.
yeah, maybe just buy a tiny bit and try the spices on the way. Then decide if we want to load up on some more on the way back. That
Or they have
seems
some tasters. Alright. We've decided
Okay.
to only buy a small amount, so we can try a little bit and then maybe buy some more on the way back.
The tasting
Yeah.
pack. Sure.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, it's overpriced
Yeah.
for 100 grams, but at least you get to taste the gold. Okay, how much, sorry?
Like 2 gold.
2 gold. All right. Yeah, with that, he's like, I can get a lot of this, but 2 gold. I mean, you guys
Then
go
make
to the
it one.
fancy spice shops.
We don't
Yeah,
need a lot.
I'll only show one. Oh, yeah, and he kind
Some
of
of the
goes off and,
saffron.
it's gone for a while. Yeah, is there anything else they wants to do in the town, or like try to explore, ask anybody anything, or happy just to relax?
And make sure they're great, because if we like the spices, we might buy some more on the way back.
Yeah, I'll get them.
Today I learned not all druids are surfers.
No, of course not. Start top.
I'll be honest, I
you're-
think Johnny might be the only one I know who is.
Oh, well,
Yeah, I think
Is
we're
he?
slightly in the minority, you know.
it's the only druid I've ever known. So I
I
assumed.
mean, that's fair enough.
In
There's all
mind,
sorts, you know.
Johnny, surfer, druid.
Hmm.
Blue.
Why'd you gotta bring race into it?
Did I?
Brought race into it? Is your race blue?
You're
That's interesting.
human. No?
Big blue. Big blue boy.
Why do you have to bring color race once, Canyon? Nah, never mind. I'm blue.
I'm blue as
people
well.
for life.
I would,
Sure.
Dabba dee dabba die.
Oh, look at that. This is blue as shit.
True.
Sounds like you guys should talk the rest of the evening away, you know.
Yeah. We probably get a little drunk and
Drunk, you take advantage of some of the hospitality, or not hospitality, but sort of civilization.
Yeah, we spent
Yeah,
there
no,
gold and ale.
try to avoid Crystal putting his entire foot in his mouth again.
Exactly. After about, like 20 minutes, you see what's the old people come back. He actually has like a couple like also like little foods. Like you said, like all the I said I wanted to try what they were, and they cooked up. They gave me a little bit of this. It's like kind of stew. It's not like tasty and see how they are. But yeah, he comes back like he does. He seems to have spent all the gold. Doesn't really discuss how the haggling went, but then he says, "Oh, but look what this is," and he kind of like he's got a significant amount. You can like try it, and it is I mean, it's obviously up to you how you like it. It is, there is a bit of kick to it. Some of them certainly have like chili in it. Some of your character possibly like spicy food, and otherwise it is just quite different. It is there's like just flavors are slightly more not what you're used to. In the Shackles, it's very plain, kind of just like salty. It's a lot more interesting. Mm-hmm. And
Not weird.
in the morning, you begin to. Oh no, sorry. You go to bed. Blah blah blah. Keep watch. I'm assuming still blah blah blah.
Blah blah
Goes
blah.
fine.
Yes,
Blah
we,
blah
we,
blah.
did, we
Blah.
do a lot of blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in the morning, you kind of wake up. You see what's happening. You were told to be ready to leave, and you do see there does seem to be some activity around the village. You have like if on the ground, there's like people almost like looking like they have a job to do. Which maybe has like it's a decent size, like maybe like 300 people something in total, like combined like the top and below the waterfall, and you see like maybe 30 people or something like that seem to have like at the one time like rushing around and getting ready for something,
Okay.
and one of them, a man you hadn't met before, when they see you kind of looking at the scene, kind of tell you to be like, the ritual will start soon. Get your boat near the foot of the waterfall.
Ship.
Oh.
Kind of just waves away, And then he starts like barking orders again to like all the people who are like kind of running around.
Yeah.
Ready, hoist the sails.
Exactly. You run back at the sail fortune.
Yeah.
Go
You
along
guys
with
know what to do.
Raise anchor.
And yeah, as you get there, he is shouting orders in Mwangi. And when he sees you are there at the boat, you kind of see now on the bank on the other side. There's the elder Zola is kind of watching from the chair. And as he shouts orders, you see all these 30 people. It's basically some sort of ritual. You're not sure how exactly it works. Johnny, you're druid focused on the water, so you can kind of get a vibe what's happening. In some ways, it's similar to you don't maybe you're not path enough to cast it yet, but control water is a spell, for instance. Is it probably similar? Except it's being done by there's 30 people you can see all kind of chanting and doing very complicated sort of manipulative and thematic components. So it's something to do a similar effect in some ways, maybe even more powerful, but obviously taking a lot more time and requiring a lot more actual man force. But you do it, you see it kind of all try to do not dance, but complicated movements, and as they kind of raise their hands and all at one, the water sort of ebb, and you see the waterfall even starts almost not go up yet, but almost slow, full, that's slower. And as they keep going, and it does take a couple of minutes. You can just watching it, on the ship's deck, and you see they continue it, and eventually the water starts and waterfall basically kind of just stops falling, almost kind of suspended in place, and the water beneath the ship is starting to rise with the ship above it. Over the course of maybe 5-10 minutes, it is a slow process, but there's a huge amount of water moving. It's a great amount. They're basically kind of suspending the ship up. Sorry, yeah.
An elementivator.
I was say exactly, Johnny, on the return trip, maybe you learn this. Do it ourselves.
That'll be something. Maybe.
Doesn't seem that hard. They're
What is
confused.
the highest level or
They've
most
never
powerful
seen-
water spell?
The most powerful water spell?
Most powerful
Yeah.
water spell.
Jesus, I don't
It's
know about
hydro pump.
that.
Is there 9th or 10th level
Mhm.
watery spells?
I don't like it.
I'm looking. Well,
Yeah,
Cataclysm is a level 10.
Yeah. Nature incarnate.
Deluge is level
Cataclysm's
8.
water?
Yeah, Cataclysm is
It's
many
everything,
things.
man. Cataclysm
Yeah.
is everything.
Cataclysm is
yeah,
everything. Yeah. Deluge. Deluge is level 8.
There you go. But for instance,
Is there a
control-
tsunami spell that you could use to just throw
Is
stuff
it? There
over?
there's no tsunami spell. There must be a tsunami spell.
I would hope so, but I'm not seeing one.
No, I guess there isn't.
No, not really.
I mean,
Maybe in the
Cataclysm
new
is a
book.
tsunami is one of the things that happens, during
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
But,
Can-
Also, it's gonna be more.
Just do nature incarnate. I'm sure that would work.
nature incarnate, exactly. But I mean, it looks in a way this is some, like, the most similar to is control water. Obviously, control of water only like radius only 10 feet, but this is like 30 people casting at the same time, right? Of course, they're
And is
probably not all powerful enough to do this, but it's over time. And
It's like a ritual someone could
it's
learn.
like a
perhaps,
unique
if they-
ritual. Yeah, it would probably be. Yeah, you think you would be able to learn a ritual if, like, how many people exactly would need necessary ritual. It depends on the power of the caster, right? Maybe it's like a combined
Yeah.
spell level kind of
So if there's 30 like civilians, then Johnny could do it by himself, surely.
Okay. You believe what you want to believe, but yeah, you're kind of all like discussing this, as like get basically lifted up, and yeah, after maybe like 5-10 minutes, it's a very slow sort of water. It does like ebb up slowly, and you basically find yourself at the top, and then you do like one final sort of like push, almost like give the boat like a little bit of horizontal force, like kind of get onto that. And you quickly be like, okay, we should be like ready. But as they do that, you're like, okay, get to the oars, get to but it is obviously pretty fast. They seem to like slow down a bit, but
And
they're
the
still
oars!
exactly like saying, man, the oars. Before you even gets up, kind of jumps into shape. And you start to grow, and basically the first bit is like the harder part, and they are still kind of holding back the water a little bit at that point, and kind of like watching you go. And yeah, you don't really have time to like maybe some of them wave to you as you go off, and obviously you can wave back, like shout something if you want. But you do realize quite quickly you need to go before, like, they have to let the water go down again. At that point, you want to be far enough downstream that it doesn't just, wash you back.
That'd be awkward. Yeah.
You have people awkward, and yeah, you as you go back there, you do hear some sort of like cheering and cries out in Wangi as the water starts like rushing, and you basically make sure you basically like kind of turn the boat so it's like not pushing it back too much, and you have made it to the other side of the waterfall.
That's cool. That's some
Good
One Piece
shit.
shit.
Oh,
That's
good job, crew.
Good job, crew. Holy shit. Okay, yeah, the
Oh.
crew.
So, you guys still have the seed with you? Or was that the real one that you left there?
We definitely give them to
Imagine if Jack were just typing me random shit like that.
Yeah. He's like sitting there at the
Coconuts,
table carving. Yeah.
Oh, man.
He's been whittling a fake seed this whole time.
Oh, yeah. That's why I was practicing all the crafting. Oh, it seems, at least in my mind, imagine you double bluff me. You did all like these first CV checks I don't get to see until now. But
Yeah. Starts revealing them one by one.
I run the campaign now.
Jesus, no, it appears. Yeah, I don't know. Nate, you asked that though?
Yeah, sure.
I'm guessing in a joking way, but yeah.
Yeah.
No, we gave them the real one.
And it was worth it. Couldn't have gone up.
Yeah, I don't think we would be well received on the return trip if we didn't. It's probably something they would know again. Considering that, like, you touch it and you immediately know something's a little weird with it, I think they would notice if it was.
It's hard to fake for sure. It seems
Yeah.
hard to fake. Yeah. Okay. And yes, you guys set off above the stream. It is similar to how it was before. It is kind of difficult some of this area, especially like there it's still a little bit steep, due to the waterfall and the narrowness of the river here. So you do have to use the oars sadly for maybe like 1 or 2 more days, like half the time to get through the bad patches. Sadly, they're probably going upstream, but the return journey will be so much easier. And yeah, I guess we will roll a random encounter to see how far along the river you get before your next adventure. I guess someone rolls a d4. I roll a d4, right?
You roll the d4 and then the person.
And then it
rolls the
hits
check.
Nate. Oh, what? No, it hits Josh.
Okay.
Don't fuck
Yeah,
us,
it-
Josh.
It is,
I don't know, but he rolled a fucking.
Oh, so nothing happened.
dragon.
No way.
No, it's the opposite because for whatever reason on
Exactly,
random
it's the
encounter rolls,
But I
a 1
won
is
the rules.
if you don't want
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, plus you guys won fights, so it's unlucky for you when you all won, right? Exactly. You want that sweet, sweet loot.
It really depends on the fight.
Luckily, I've got all the non-magic to go through.
Yeah, you can just give us a look without the fight if you want.
Yeah.
How much gold did we spend on spices then? 1 or 2?
Oh, the 2 gold. All the gold you gave him, he definitely spent and didn't even mention.
What's that?
Not sad. Not sad. Okay,
You can put
yes,
like
you do make it.
Mwangi spices on the ship.
So you do make
Yeah.
it quite far. You do a lot of day's travel. Eventually, of course, something does happen, but it's sort of any kind not a random once to work on. Boy. Okay, so
Sorry,
Are the
wait, let me
spices
add it.
consumable or a treasure?
What's we go?
Are the spices consumable or a treasure?
Consumable. You're gonna use them up. Okay. So it's a bit slower you're going yet. You're only going about 30 miles a day. So at the end of but this day speed up a bit. So this is 3 days later. Where you have a little encounter in the water. But not an encounter, something happens. But not random, so don't worry about it. 3 days later. Oh wow, it's the day before New Year, that's nice. Oh yeah. You're going throughout the screaming jungle, you hear the sound of the monkeys all at your side, very, very loud and all the time. And out there, I don't know, Josh, if you're here, maybe I should wait a minute.
Back.
Oh, you're back. Yeah, you're kind of keeping an eye out from the top, and you're seeing it, and you see the river is generally a bit wider here, but it's still not as wide as it was as wide with the map lying and telling you. And you see, maybe it's the point still a few hundred feet. Like it's fairly often, maybe even a bit more. So still maybe like 5 minutes or something travel down there. There is a part of the river where there's almost like how do I describe it? There's like a little bit of ground coming out of the water, like almost like a sandbank or something. I don't know what you call those, like what I mean. With like a tree on it. And you see kind of like on top of it, like whoever sleeping or something, is a gigantic crocodile. And you've seen like you've seen crocodiles, like abound, about like every so often they kind of swim down the water and you make sure to get out quickly and not do any more fishing for a little bit. But this one it's significantly bigger than that. This would be a huge creature, and it looks a bit like more prehistoric than some of the normal ones you see.
Right.
And yeah, like as you kind of sketch it out, it's very easy to see. It's not really hiding anything, just 200 feet away. But you do see, however, that it seems to have some young with it. There's like this like giant one, and then also has like two or three like still very big, like probably a normal crocodile kind of size, but like compared to it, much smaller. Kind of like who seem to almost like be swimming around. And if you kind of are like watching for a few seconds, I guess you probably cool down as well. You see that that the young ones are almost like kind of playing. Like it's hard to tell exactly for sure, but they're almost like wrestling with each other a little bit. But you don't see any actual like sort of blood flying up, and like the really big one kind of like lying in the middle is basically just ignoring it. But yeah, it's maybe like 5 minutes or something like down this river from where you got. It's like a lot less big trees in the current area where you are, and more kind of just like undergrowth.
So I like do the thing that I can do now, which is literally just drop off and then roll into. Why climb any more down? Only up. But run over to Nate and them and just tell them what's up with the crocodiles.
Yeah, from the look of it, it was hard to like. You think you would like like I said, there was like this little bit on this map. I guess I can actually put you on the map so you can see what exactly like it looks like.
So I just remember that in a previous life, I spent like 1/3 of every round in a fucking crocodile's gullet.
It's
the worst.
They look pretty chill. Ignore the tokens; they don't look so angry.
But I don't have vision.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You'll have vision any second now.
Don't have vision.
See the outline of the boat. Oh
no
my
vision.
god.
So yeah, what's it called? Shut up,
Sir, that is not a crocodile. I'm sorry. That's just not.
It's a little prehistoric.
That's a dinosaur right there.
Yeah, it's a little prehistoric. I said it looks a little prehistoric. But I mean, it's kind of like lying. Like you can kind of see, right? There's this kind of sandbank sort of like thing where the water looks a bit shallower. There's kind of like half in and half out of, and then these two brothers are kind of like like playing with each other, sort of like kind of wrestling at the side of the banks. Like still pretty big, but like nothing at all compared to it.
So
Can I try and
we spotted
roll?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Is it a Danasucus?
It's maybe.
I know. I just googled. I can't remember the name of it. I thought it was a SARS, but like dinosaur crocodile name. Yeah,
Giant
literally dinosaur crocodile.
Yeah. It might be. It's a big guy. But that's something a nature check. Sorry, what did you say?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I wanted to try and figure out if we know them to like if. Wait, that's hard.
Would they be
it's so big.
aggressive?
Yeah, how aggressive it would be, like how if you can tell if it's
I'm just
hungry
gonna
or
put
not,
this.
or
This was the image in Google. This
Hey,
aggressive.
hey, this is my world. They can just
I know.
reference it.
Exactly.
Well, that's a
Literally
cool fucking picture, though.
And attack a
That's
T-Rex
massive.
aggressive.
So I mean, it's a huge thing. I mean, this is
Yeah.
anybody who wants to like see if you can
Holy
also
shit.
just watch it, like how it's interacting with the other like two young. Can
Let's
basically
do
roll
it.
a nature check if you want to
That's
see if
that's
you can
why
interact
there are no
with
T-Rexes anymore, right?
That's the extinction.
These guys spend more time in Florida. Though.
People thought it was a meteor, it was actually
figure this shit
crocodiles.
out. These things.
Nicknamed the Terror Crocodile. That's awesome name.
Okay,
Holy
anybody
shit.
else want to roll for it?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't have nature, so
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just say let's not.
So quickly,
We go
I'm
around
sure,
as fast as
I'm
possible.
sure you'll want to make
figure
a
it out.
gun out of the big one, right?
Okay, sorry. So what I say about it? So okay, so Nate and Johnny, you're like maybe the most well-versed animals. You've seen a lot of them in your life. Nate, Johnny's obviously familiar with all water creatures. You probably think it is less likely that it would just attack a boat within it going back, even though it's huge. Obviously, your ship is bigger, and it probably wouldn't see it as like a potential food. You're only worried. The only thing that could make it, potentially dangerous is it does seem to have too young of it. And obviously, that probably makes it a lot more protective of its area and at least, its territory or its home. And for instance, like I said, like it's shallower here, and there is like these sandbanks. So you think you probably wouldn't be able to go this like full speed. You probably would need to get maybe out the oars and kind of like help you make you get through it without getting stuck. At least it would be like a little sailing check to make sure you don't accidentally get like a little bit stuck in the sand here. So potentially, if you were here too long, maybe it would get its attention in some way.
Oh, yeah.
But
Do we have
you
any of
don't-
the seaweed horse meat left?
Ooh, the kelpie? No, that was
Yeah.
that was like weeks and weeks ago. That's
Okay.
all been
Do we have any other fresh meat on board?
Some new spices.
You have like
Yeah.
fishes every so often. You catch fish,
Yeah.
and maybe you have like a large salmon or something that someone caught before. Or you maybe had something earlier today.
So I'm
Nothing
thinking
like
we have
huge.
Miha throw as hard as possible over here to try to get them to
Yeah.
run
Yeah,
that direction.
The size
away.
of
we don't
the
have
fish
cannons,
you have isn't
right?
that big.
On
You
the-
do not have cannons. Very different approaches. You do not have cannons.
Yeah.
No fish and no cannon. Yes. So, but Josh. Oh, sorry. Outer is suggesting what you are basically thinking, Nate and Johnny. Like one option is, of course, you go through slowly and you try to create a little kind of disturbance water if possible. I'm just saying this would be a sailing check to see if you like it disturbing the creature, or you could try to do something to kind of distract them. You're not really sure the fish you have is large enough, but maybe you could make a loud noise or something, or you even have somebody run into the fucking woods. Right? You know what I mean? There are ways to obviously distract them. Or of course, the easier option is you just kill them. You think this is a very dangerous creature, but of course you have the advantage here. You're in a boat. You could maybe start the fight in very tedious transition, but it also it's up to
How
you if you
much
want
of
to
the
do that.
front
It doesn't
of our boat that's already been fucking beat to hell could it put in its mouth?
It could. I mean, it's fucking huge, right? Here's the thing: it could. I mean, you're not sure, how much about actually fit in, but seeing the size of the jaws, I mean, that is a worry. You run if Nate didn't manage to get through quickly, even if it had one turn and there was this big thing right next to it, and it just take a chunk out of it if it bites and whacks it with the tail,
We
you
need
worry
that.
that could be enough to badly damage it. So of course, if Nate is swift enough with the orders and the manages to make you through here without any too much problems, it would be doable. But there are risks with any approach, of course.
There's
We'll
no
be
way-
coordinating our efforts. We want some food. Can you fire food in your gun? A Quicksilver? Probably not.
No.
Not,
Well, technically,
a lot
very small
at the
amount.
same time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not very.
And
You
would
could
not go
feed
as
the
far.
young ones, maybe.
3/4 black powder, 1/4 meat.
Spicy.
Yeah, it's spices too.
Mhm.
Oh,
And the left side of the bank, there's no way we can traverse that, right? From
This part, yeah, maybe, but it's it would be even harder. So depending on how long you were there, it's the chance of noticing you and wanting to I mean, here, the boat is fucking wide, right? Even if the boat's here and getting past,
So
it's not
quick,
it's 10 feet. It's well, not 10 feet, but it's it's 20 feet away from this giant creature. You're not sure how it would react. Maybe it would just sleep through it. You the same if you don't know, right? and none of you are
okay.
familiar enough exactly with
Yeah.
these creatures to know how they would react.
Yeah.
Like
Okay,
the thing with the young
so-
is really what's throwing you out because you're not sure like if this is a place where it'd be attacked a lot by other creatures and it'd be very defensive, or if they don't have any predators at all, or maybe they don't give too much of a shit. So
Okay, so the plan is that we rush through.
How far
as
away
fast
could you
as we can.
take out one of its young with your gun?
everyone's just like
Just wondering.
quiet. You know?
Mm. Far. It's surety. 60 feet.
Okay, too close.
If they don't expect, pretty far.
I mean, I'll leave it up to you. I just like just generally point in the direction of the monstrosity on the beach there. Like, I that just seems like a shipwrecker to me.
Johnny, crocodile, nature, your domain.
Mhm.
Either
Yeah.
talk or kill.
Do you speak croc?
Don't speak croc. I don't think they speak anything, but should probably avoid them. That would be the thing.
Yeah, I think the
Nice
plan
birth
should be
around it and ignore
we
them.
just
But you're also a druid, right? Druids like speak to animals. Right?
Fellow
can.
surfers.
I can potentially. Doesn't mean that.
Yeah.
Well,
I
two
don't-
things I would want, or that
I don't mean to jump
something
to
like a crocodile, but
conclusions or assume
get a
too
nice.
much, but it doesn't look like much of a diplomat. I will say that.
Yeah, yeah.
Might lose some
Yeah.
surprise.
Yeah.
See us as morsel and attack.
If we just sail past and not let ourselves be shown, let's think. What is this?
I did just
wooden
think of
thing
one
goes
thing.
past?
And this may matter. We're supposed to ensure the safety of this path. Leaving
Yeah.
a giant crocodile and its two young, who will also turn in to a giant crocodile, would probably make this path unsafe. I don't know if we have a choice.
Yeah, that's a very good point, bro.
There are
uh,
more.
can we deal with that on the way back?
We're like literally just leaving every problem like that. That's probably when we come back. When we
Future
come
me
back,
could
we'll
deal
deal
with
with that shit.
I don't think
When we're a higher level, let's go. Literally cross that bridge when you get
boat.
type stuff.
I mean, they might leave by the time we come
Yeah,
back.
I mean,
Leave,
it's also like, I mean, those of you who have nature, like, obviously, yes, they might be gone, they might stay, but it's also difficult. I mean, realistically, also, right, it's
Where
like
would they
hundreds of
go?
miles of jungle, but it's also like, but also on the other side, this is hundreds of miles of jungle river. Like, of course, there
Yeah.
will be creatures, when people like traverse this route. This for sure seems like a fucking big one, and yeah, it is true that clearing it out probably.
But it's not like legendarily big, right? Like we know of crocodiles.
This isn't
size.
like this isn't an uncommon creature. This is technically a common.
We should ask ourselves what exactly is our job on this route. Is to
Bit late, I
map
think.
this route to make this path. It is not our job to exterminate every single danger one might find here.
Correct. We are supposed to
We
find
should
the way
document
through
it.
to the mana wastes, and B, let them know how safe it is.
Yes, exactly. We
That's
should
those are
document
two goals.
big ass fucking crocodiles possible. Should be part of our report.
Okay,
But,
so
I don't
we-
think we
it'll
need
all
to
day.
personally take everything out. We map it and let them deal with it.
Okay. So make
I
a
think
note
this-
on your map.
Yeah.
Giant fuck off crocodile.
Okay.
Big ass
on the
crocodile.
map.
Yes, I will.
And then
I
are
don't
we
think-
trying to subtly make it through?
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
sure
I
we can
think
do that.
the plan is just to go past the crocs with speed,
Mhm.
and then
Careful speed. Yes.
Johnny, I think with your control of water, maybe you should be prepared to, I don't know,
It's not gonna.
to
Probably-
slow
it's
them
probably-
down if it's
That's
possible.
probably not gonna work like it did with the harpies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are
More
aquatic.
water for them is just better for them. I feel. right?
True.
You had to shoot
Close.
pillow water,
Yeah.
giant fucking crocodile.
Yeah.
If they decide to chase us, then maybe if you have a way to slow down the current, so it's something like that. to
Try.
Are there any
slow
other
their advance.
spells that you could use that might,
Yes, make ship fly.
you know? I think we had that, we would have used it before, right?
Yeah, not quite something that's possible, really.
But can you do like a wall of water between us and them that makes us obscured, or?
If it
Wall of
was
water,
yesterday,
Yesterday.
but it's today now, so I can't do this today. I can do it tomorrow if you know. I can push them
What have you-
away. I can
What have you
say
potentially-
done
that every
today?
day. You said that a week ago.
It's always tomorrow when the cool magic happens.
Look, the way this works, I commune with nature, with water, you know, and I'm granted certain spells for that specific day.
Okay.
Hmm.
And
So you have
today is
to-
not a wall of water day.
Mm-mm.
I
God.
thought you just wanted it to happen, and it happened.
I mean, yeah, if I really want it to happen, you know, I get what I want. Generally.
So what you're saying is you don't really want it to happen.
Yeah.
Well, it's the
rather
start
see us
of the
snap.
day. If we
Did
met
not
these
expect
like
to be a
during the
crocodile.
night and then
Let's-
you know wait,
So we just go
I can push them
with
away. I
all
can make it like a little
prudent
bit of a quirk.
speed, I think
But
is the
yes.
word.
Discussion mood. We will be discovered
or-
and kill it. It's
Or
Yeah.
just
If it attacks a ship, we kill the fucker, right?
I mean, yeah, I'm self-defense.
knock.
at that point.
What about knock John in the head, so he goes to sleep, and then when
Why?
he wakes back up, hopefully he has the right spells.
Not how it works.
Yes.
Oh,
Have you
It's
tried?
not when I go to sleep. It's not when I go to sleep. It's when the new day starts. Difference, big difference.
Okay.
Big difference.
okay. So I
All
guess you're rushing through.
Yeah, so basically the way this will work is will be a law saving check basically from you, Nate. And if you succeed on the check, you'll get through and maybe they just like growl and you kind of shout off the GFU. On a failure, we basically will like roll initiative to see how they react when you're basically like next to them to show you basically being like stuck on the sand in some way.
Yeah.
So,
So
And before the
Taryn,
net
critical,
one.
I want you to on the oars for this one, and
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
can easily RP the nut one there. Smack it on its head with your. That's a mistake.
oh no,
and Johnny, you keeping the eye on the crocs. Okay.
Oh yeah, yeah.
you're
do
keeping
both.
a pose.
I'm peeking from behind, like the mast, so I can still see them over there. I ain't looking over the edge.
Yeah, understand.
You know, I'll keep a
Okay.
nice safe distance.
Okay.
So let's go then.
Hit them on the head.
And Cooper, have some food prepared to distract
He's
them.
like pulling your face like any fun. Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of sprinkles a little bit of
Pot
sand.
in one hand, literal salmon in the other.
Yeah,
weaponized
wax
salmon.
of a whole salmon. That's good.
I guess
Yeah,
trout.
no,
Trout sounds better to me.
Perhaps, yeah, okay. Okay, and yeah, give me a sailing check, Nate, as you try to get them past. You kind of try to navigate everyone's around through
Can
this kind
I-
of narrow.
if I'm on the oars, can I try with like trying to add speed
Yeah,
by like?
You can aid with athletics.
Okay, nice.
With athletics, damn. Why can't
Yeah.
I roll athletics?
Because you were trying to find the
You're
best way
steering,
through. Okay, that's a success. You have a +1 on your law sailing check. Yeah, exactly. You're not like steering because it is being but you're directly and you're looking at the sandbanks and everything and like the level of the water, blah blah blah. Okay,
Yeah.
we got a law. Okay. Okay, I will move the boat as you get over to here and what's it called? I need to move everybody. How do I move everybody? No.
Ah,
We need to be a part of the boat.
Select
I should better just
from
select.
outside of that.
Yeah, I thought I was. What the fuck?
I can
What?
do it.
Okay, move everybody. No, but I just move.
Well, I can't move anyone else but the boat
Yes,
and
I
me.
can only select. Oh no, there we go. Okay.
Star move
So yeah,
me.
you basically get over to here, and then Nate, you would just taking it a little bit too close, and it gets a little kind of nudges in a sandbank here, and it kind of wakes up and kind of looks in your direction. Of course, you can roll back. I mean, you can just sail away. It's fine, but maybe it gives you a little whack on the way. The others are the kids are not even reacting, so it's just this thing in the boat, which basically roll initiative against each other. Everybody can toggle yourself in.
Hmm.
Okay.
It's pretty reactive actually. It wasn't mapping that much.
Everyone will get the +1 because I'll be doing the scouting thing.
I think you roll initiative for the boat, though. Wait, was that me who rolled initiative? No, who's participant?
Oh, I see. I tried to. No, I did. Definitely did. It wasn't me then. Finally good. And then
I don't think it was me.
perception.
Now what? Why can I?
I mean, luckily it's only been native matters for these ones sailing the ship. Okay, but it does have seem like that it does react very quickly to the boat being disturbing it, and kind of turns. It initially begins by turning and basically looks up at all of you, and then kind of just makes a I don't know, roar, growl. Kind of intimidate, with whatever it's called.
Did everyone get the +1?
I put it in. For me.
Yeah, I couldn't put it in for some reason.
What?
Okay.
Yeah.
But I will.
Add +1 didn't want.
It doesn't. Luckily, it doesn't seem to say language you use, so intimidating isn't maybe as scary as it could be. They are. I guess they have to target one person. You target you, Johnny. You're we're nearest the edge, watching them. So they kind of just go up, snap their teeth, and kind of just kind of do it to you.
Specifically, I was I'm not close to the edge.
Well, for you were the one watching them. That's what they said.
Yeah, I'm from behind the mast. I'm
Watching them for a minute. What do you mean?
Johnny, that was your one job.
Alright, then they look at
Be the bait.
I mean, someone's got to be in the oars, right? You got to be on the sides of the boat. You're using
Yeah.
the oars, guys.
Yeah.
But on this side, they're obviously.
From where I'm watching.
Somebody's on the other side of the fucking boat. Okay? Okay, so you get the short straw. It tries to intimidate you. It doesn't look
Just
that scary.
intimidate me.
Yeah, it just growls. Okay, it's not scary at all. I mean, it's scary, but it's no more scary than you were looking at it for the past 5
Yeah,
minutes.
yeah. Or
Exactly.
acclimated to it.
But then it does basically, it doesn't go for a bouncing crazy that, but it basically just with its giant tail goes to kind of to smack it into the side of the boat, almost just as fuck off kind of kind of gesture. But I guess I will do a tail strike for the thing. I mean, it can't
I'm
crit,
worried.
so it probably just hits. Hits the boat,
That's not surprising.
but just smacks the boat a bit for 19 damage.
Okay.
So 500. So the boat, you hit. I mean, you crit. So you're the ship's, actually, what's good? Yeah, you're the ship's crafter impairment. So you kind of wince as hear the board smash and everything, and you're probably taking on a little bit of water below deck, but nothing that will mash in the immediate.
That's it. We kill this fucker.
Yeah. Okay, and then it does that once. Yeah, it does it goes back and forth with the tail. So it does another kind of smash with the tail. It does it 15 feet reach, so it can just do it from where it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and just smashes again into. It's very hard to miss, right? Just the whole side of the ship that this giant creature just ramming itself into. I mean, not itself. This only does 15, so only 10 damage. So 10 plus the 14, so 24. So the ship is still functional. It is a 26 out of 50.
Better.
It's broken in one more thing. And it's your turn, Nate. Okay, so you could. Yeah, I mean, you are still sailing, right? And everyone's at that bit, so you can obviously order everyone to keep going, or you can basically tell people to stop. But if you want people to keep going, then they have to spend their turn basically being crew members.
Yeah, we keep going.
Okay, so you're fuck this. The ship is still luckily just about functional, and you tell everyone to get going. So then, give me another law sailing check. Oh, if you want to give out a hit point this session, who's not talking about? Josh, you can have one for making sure the party actually followed their contract. That's something good heroes do. No, but this one you can see that we're giving you 2 hero points, for being crazy fuckers, which is also what heroes do. Okay, Nate, it is a sailing check if you want to try.
Oh, slightly better. I mean, my modifier is not good.
is the sailing check again?
Your boat, generally like so you kind of did the hard bit where you kind of like got stuck a little bit, but the actual to get it moving again here is pretty easy. Like the DC for sailors normally is DC 18. I'm saying this is slightly harder because of like the situation, so it is a DC 20 instead, because like you're like a little bit on the sand.
Is it just a lore sailing check, or what is the?
It could be. Technically, I think if he's part of the rowing, actually that's actually a good question. But you can also use nature. But normally, I that's because you're using the sails. But
I'm wondering then if
in
these situations, if you have just a +9 in sailing lore, I have +11, so I might as well do that because you're going to be way better at rowing. Well, no, just in these kind of encounters.
Oh, you're trying to take my job, are you? On board.
Gods no. I just don't want to row.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I mean, if
Aim my little noodly arms.
Huh?
if you want to hand over control, you can become a crew member and Outtake and like order you to like you can like shout down. Up to you, Nate. Or if you want to just shout at everybody, keep going. It's entirely up to you.
I mean, I rolled already. So.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Okay, yeah, you succeeded. I didn't even check. Okay, so yeah, so you yes, you kind of ignore the thrashing of the boat, the wood getting smashed into place. And like you manage to kind of like direct everyone to kind of like push off from the sand with one of the oars, I guess, and then you yell at everyone to row fast and fast, and you manage to basically only no, I don't even need you basically just go over and it doesn't like kind of everyone is like focusing on rowing. If you kind of look behind you, Crystal, in their direction, it seems like basically it doesn't seem to be following. It seems basically like it maybe goes like 10 feet off its thing to be in the water if it kind of like eyes low, kind of like looking down, kind of like this, but it just does kind of watch as the boat leaves, and we can enact that of initiative. And it is after a few seconds
frantically.
Again. Yeah, rowing frantically until like it's far in the past.
Yeah, that was close. Good job, boys. Then time to maybe
Get a new ship.
land the boat and
Seriously.
fix her up. Right?
Oh,
That
sure,
may
then
be
it'll
a
be.
bit.
Definitely should be done that.
So this will be more patched than ship.
Yeah, you kind of pull it into the side.
We
This
really are
is
going to have
like
the whole
that,
ship of Theseus problem very
Not
soon.
a problem, that's the issue. Yeah, you pull it into side, and I guess like when there's no time or something, it's not like sinking in the middle or anything like that. Because it's not actually broken. There's some like things below, but Cooper's busy, bucketing it out. And yeah, you can spend some time fixing. But the wood planks used to fix it, the ones that like basically previous. You like see the plank goes like smash it, and you kind of nail them back together. It's like just like this will hold. It's yeah, you're dreaming of the days you're going to be at a shipyard once more and have good materials at your disposal. But cool, you managed to make your way past it. We can move you back onto the world map once more. Ah, yes, I like this big crop on the map. I did not see this.
I'm glad we didn't kill it, so it was a base effort.
That would be fun. You could then write a dead big croc,
Yeah,
It's just as good, just as good. Cool. Yeah, you go off once more. And the sailing here. I need to check timelines. Okay. It starts to widen out a bit, and you start being able to sail a bit more. Plus, even like when there was the entry, you can do like this kind of zigzagging thing, which is how people get like kind of upstream in the good old days. And so it still isn't as fast, obviously, as like on the oceans, but there is more. But you're getting a good 40 feet instead of 50 feet maybe on the ocean. So Miha is doing, or Nato is doing a good job piloting you up, and you make some good progress.
I mean, we're almost. Let's see, zoom out. I mean, we're like halfway there.
Yeah, but you get pretty well far ahead now. But you rolled that one for an encounter, so you don't get to fight that cool thing I found. You poor guys.
We all know that the next time we roll a good one, that cool thing is gonna show up.
That's true. We'll soon.
It's now hunting us officially.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is this far you're going. So 320 miles. I need to check the travel speed again. God damn it. Plus 50 feet is 40 miles a day, and I think it's 2 miles a day when it's 40, and you're doing like a bit of a combination because the weather isn't perfect and you're going upstream. So let's say it averages perfectly to 32 miles a day, and then it takes exactly 10 more days for you to make your way up there. You have the New Year has arrived during this stretch of travel. If there's anything fun anyone wants to do during
Happy
the
New
New
Year.
Year, it's like a day where you all get out the fucking the things,
Kazoos that we randomly have.
exactly. What's it called? Cooper makes a nice kind of New Year cake. I don't know if they do that in Denmark. I don't know if that's the same in other places. And you make your way down, and yeah, you get pretty far. And the rest of the days were fairly quiet. Obviously, you saw more mundane wildlife and everything, but there didn't seem to be any other towns or anything that you were passing. That is until you come to here, and you basically you just passed this junction. This was where you kind of had you had now still the map, which is like what we see on the world, that is still kind of telling you basically you need to go on here. So this was like a giant sort of river junction, right? Like hundreds and hundreds of meters along, and you follow it around to the north, and just a few hours after you kind of past this intersection, you keep going. You see, right here, it is started to be a lot less kind of like deep jungle. Like the rivers is much more like it's much more like I guess like the savanna stuff you saw a bit previously. Like the rivers are bare, so you can see quite well. There's a lot of vantage points, and you see. I guess it's always going to be until you see the thermal model of perception. You're like so much easier for you. You got like the telescope and everything.
Yeah.
You see on the bank, like maybe I'm so bad knowing how far you can see. A couple of miles ahead, a couple of kilometers or something, kind of in the banks, like built into the bank, but also going quite far back, is what looks like. You would think from the design of short, but certainly you think the ruins of a fairly large city once upon a time. You're not sure if it could still be being occupied. It's kind of hard to tell from the distance, but it's certainly, if it is, has let itself become badly overgrown. Like the kind of trees of the savannah and the wild, like overtaken some of the buildings. Some of them, even from here, look like they've almost got like buried in like earth. But it's certainly at one point would have been a very large a real city, not just a town, and made of like quite impressive architecture and everything.
Altair debates asking Kirksel to go down and help Coop prepare lunch so he doesn't get sidetracked by runes. And then he decides he jumps down and just lets him know that there looks like there's some runes up ahead. Don't know if they're abandoned or not yet.
A city? Is
They
it made
do
out
look
of gold?
Fairly no, doesn't look like it.
Not from far, you can tell.
It definitely has been somewhat overgrown though. So if it is still occupied, they're not keeping up on the place.
So is that the lost city that was
Well,
someone
the lost city was the one that was supposedly made of gold. So
Oh, supposedly.
as we get closer, if we see gold, maybe that's it. But if it is, that's what was his name? No, not Vash. That's a book character.
Vash is that beautiful. Who are you thinking of?
Let me find it.
Oh, I know who you're thinking of. But I can let you find it.
I will find it.
You can find it. I believe it.
Vash.
Vash.
More
indeed.
Vash. Thank you. Kind of told us to maybe don't go there.
Yeah, but it's not golden. No, I'm just joking.
Yes, that city was in the jungle. Right?
Supposedly, somewhere in the Moingi Expanse is all I really recall of them saying.
I believe Screaming Jungle.
We're not in the jungle anymore, right?
It's not in Kansas anymore. No, yeah, this is more like savannah and everything. It's even just starting to get like a little bit of height. Like it's not easy to be like cold, but you are like steadily going upstream over the the 2 weeks of travel, or like going a little bit uphill. There's like gradient, so you're also getting a little bit of a distance up. So yeah, it's harder for jungle-y kind of stuff.
City could have threats if we're protecting the route.
Or gold, but I think we'll, if there's gold there, we could stop on the way back, right? I'd imagine if,
The way
yeah, the gold won't disappear in the meantime, if it didn't until now, right? Maybe our
Yes.
priority should just be to get to the location we are looking for as fast as possible. Unless there's something extraordinary, right? Or do you think we need to load up on some old stones?
Was it large, big buildings? Like
It did look rather large, yes.
Port Peril?
I mean, hard to say with the overgrowth.
Very fast.
I'm sure we'll get the better view. There's no avoiding it at this point. We're going to sail past it,
Yeah.
so
Hmm.
I
just
mean,
more
we
at this
can at
point.
least,
Let's be on the lookout.
I mean, we can stop for a bit if you guys want to.
Uh, I say we maybe judge that as we get closer if there's movement or other things
Yeah.
happening.
But I think
Yeah.
if we go exploring, it would take us a while. Probably a
I do not want to derail ship.
couple of days at least.
Hmm.
Okay, so you decide just, I mean, you have to go forward and, keep an eye out. Be careful.
And Quicksil, mark it on the map.
Maybe
You
we
can
see
give it a name.
signposts.
You
Oh,
can give it a name.
name.
Because you're the... Or Altair can, because he was the first to spot it. In 1,000 years, I'd imagine.
You say that, but as you get closer, and you're kind of looking, keeping an eye out, and you start to actually see some signs of life in the ruins out there from a distance. You kind of see, first of all, on the like the bank of the river is like a couple of like kind of fishing boats, like very small, kind of simple, almost like like canoes or kayaks. People would just fish from, not like big things with nets or anything like that. Which are kind of like a couple of them are like still moving around. You kind of see them, from your vantage point. And yeah, you see that there are a couple of buildings which seem like kind of nearest to the bank, which still seem at least to be somewhat in well kept condition. You kind of see this, maybe when you're a few hundred meters away. You don't, yeah. I guess even at this point, yeah, through the telescope, but you would see that like the fishing boats do have like people in them. Like you can make out
Yeah.
shapes at least.
Are they like the typical, like, they're, like very similar to the other Moingi tribe we saw?
Give me a perception check.
Okay. This private or blind gem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. You see that they're a similar color in skin, but these instead actually seem to be tieflings. You see,
All of
they
them?
you kind of get found. Yes, all the ones you can see, which is like basically two on one boat and one on the other. There's like three individuals you can see it now, and you can't really see anyone like standing on the banks at least. And yeah, they do indeed all seem to have like the characteristic horns and everything.
Okay. And what is, like, as we're getting closer, the city itself? Do I see, like you said, it was ruins, but like what kind? Just like again, just in poor state, like erosion? Or are we talking destruction of some kind?
Just some kind. Yeah. So okay. So the bit nearest like we've seen, that's like not in quite bad thing, but it does look probably like there was some sort of conflict here. Like you see, some of the buildings certainly have like seem to be not just overgrown, but like destroyed. By what you're not sure. It's obviously hard to tell, but there's something you believe happened here rather than just time itself. A few of them seem to just like normal ones, but there's almost like larger buildings. You see like something which you think maybe was once like a temple, almost like some sort of like similar to like a ziggurat or like a sort of pyramid that you might see in like South America, which is like kind of like destroyed. Kind of like that was like maybe one of the focal points of this area. and or the city, and there is certainly this, some destruction that happened here.
Have I heard? Do I know anything about like supposedly a civilization of tieflings in the Moengi?
Give me a society check.
Society.
No, I'm afraid it's like you're very deep now within the heart of Orangi, and more your things done than like the people who live near the coast, where like stories and word mouth travels over the waters. You haven't really heard anything, to be quite honest. Obviously, a very small. Tieflings aren't even common in the Shackle, but of course they are something which exists, and you're familiar with them. You would not. I mean, obviously there's no reason why people from Orangi would be Tieflings, but no, you have not even seen one before.
Okay. Huh. Well, I don't know if we're going to be able to avoid being spotted. So, tieflings, that's unexpected. Anyone have dealings with tieflings before?
Nope.
Not that I remember.
No, but I have with fishers.
Oh, you're talking about the one that tried to literally take you away.
Oh, right.
I don't know if they're going to be like that.
That's what Pixel meant, but oh well.
I thought they were like in fishing boats, right?
Yeah, I think he means he has experience with other fishermen.
Oh,
Not like,
yeah.
I thought you were joking about like that guy who tried to hook you and like take you away like a real
Oh,
catch.
no.
He just meant
Or was
he's
that
a
Johnny?
fisherman. I'm a fisherman. How different can we be?
Yeah.
That's the
How can we go
intrusive. Exactly.
Well, the city, the runes do show signs of kind of destruction that would have been caused by like nature, so like overgrowth or time. It's a bit worrying.
A little bit. A little bit. Some would say a little bit.
Yes, I wonder
What do any of us really know about tieflings, right? Like, I know that they're an uncommon thing for a lot of cities, but they exist, right?
Yeah, so anyone else from society, yeah, like I said, your knowledge it's fairly limited. I mean, okay, well, what do you know? Tieflings have had some way in their bloodline, like had some sort of influence of like some sort of fiend, be it demon or
Right.
devil or underwood. In some way, they have some sort of relationship between them. It could be generations before it. It could be it can like kind of pop out, or it can be more common where like a stronger bloodline, so it kind of almost goes down like presumably like these, right? Where like if tieflings live together, their children will probably be tieflings, blah blah blah. That a tiefling does not, it's not like they are actually forced into evil or anything like that. Some tieflings almost get pushed further away. It seems like their blood does not have much of a relevance on what they do go on to do in life. But of course, even if that is what you think, of course, the tieflings that become evil are much more like, the ones that are talked about. So also probably out there, the stories you've heard of tiefling probably does have them associated with the fiendish world in some way. Whether or not that is true by and large, that is probably sadly the perception most people have of them.
Yep. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if they're to be trusted.
Yeah, so we are sailing past, and if they want to
If
talk,
they look in our direction, just smile and nod.
yeah,
But if they live here and we send more ships here, we need to know. Why?
yeah, we'll just sail past with as many ships as we need to.
It's worked so far.
Yeah, I mean, from looking at you are obviously getting closer. You talk. It's not a big group as far as you can tell. Like maybe now you see like a couple of the banks who are like kind of doing like kind of work like fishermen, like gutting fish or whatever on the side. But there aren't like big boats, aren't any ships. These very much are like kind of small fishing boats and everything. So it certainly isn't a big city where if you actually said like you're not sure they could do anything to stop your boat if you sail past. Like, what would they do about it? Like, maybe they could like throw a spear and it would stick in the side of the boat, but then that's kind of it, I think. At least the initial sort of feel. Okay, so you at least keep sailing up to it. So yeah, when you gotta watch, when you think I mean, like I said, a bit open air today, of course, see you coming also before you're like anywhere near like earshot. And you do see when you're up there with your spyglass out here, like some more kind of go up to like out of like maybe like some of the ruined buildings. It seems they like still live in them. Like I said, some of them seem to be still standing and provide fine structure. And like people do start to like kind of like go to nearer the water and kind of like look in your direction. And like a couple of the boats, yeah, as you kind of like get within a few hundred feet, do you see like people in this will like wave their hands, like wave to you?
Way back.
Yeah. Okay. George, yeah, you're way back. Just as you kind of get a bit closer, you all kind of see them. I like have just like a picture of what these kind of people look like. Like the kind of like the Mwangi tieflings. So I have just a little artwork I can show you. Thanks to Mid Journey, do everything at once. Yeah.
Cool.
Mhm. But yeah,
Maybe we
they
should
just
make some
kind of
pictures.
the ones in the boat sort of wave, and
Maybe we should.
Are they just doing like this kind of wave or like a
well, they do this at
kind
first,
of
just
wave?
so like like she did they notice you, and like when you're a couple hundred feet of one, like one does like kind of stand out and like kind of call over something in a language you don't understand. But it's Mwangi, and you're like, fuck, we should have done a Mwangi course before we came.
We should have. Yeah. Rosetta Stone didn't teach me Wangi.
But they, I
Or
mean,
Duolingo is the thing.
they're not like do anything to stop you, of course. Again, like I said, not
Right.
really sure what they could do or what they would do.
That'll
Feels
help.
Like it'd be good.
We shout
Did
something
bring up a good
back
point.
in
We maybe should
Hawaii.
talk to them.
Now he
Uh,
wants to talk? Why?
Who has the loudest
Well-
voice? Shout something back.
I think we just get general sense if they're like not going to try to shoot our ship down or other ships.
I don't know.
I did not think they would do this before.
I mean, I don't naturally think a giant ancient crocodile will suddenly appear and kick our ship's ass, but it did. So anything's possible.
Something. You said something destroyed a part of the city. They might possess some strong magic.
It is possible. I just think just simply sailing past is odd, right? Like most
but
people
we
wouldn't
waved,
do that.
didn't we?
Yes. We need to gather information on things along the way, right? So we need to learn what they're about.
Sure. Okay. So I think you said you want to call back to them.
Yeah. Who shouts the loudest?
Let's all
I don't know
try.
if there's-
Let's all try.
yeah.
Everyone shout.
Yeah,
the
I don't know if
camera
there's a
contact
skill tied
Yeah,
to that.
sure.
Says I guess maybe intimidation.
So you're gonna tell me if you're lying. I would say it's more even like con or some shit for like you like really learn on that.
I can do a pretty mean bird cry,
That's true. You can really do a bit loud and piercing. Okay, whoever wants to shout for the shout, then you can just say your voice is loudest.
Okay.
I'll call out from the
Oh, okay.
nest.
Okay, you do, yeah.
It's fine since you're technically
Yeah.
sailing
Yeah,
this boat.
exactly. Yeah. Then you're like at the top anyway. Yeah, what do you
Yep.
call out?
Say, hello there. Typical stuff.
Yeah, you hear a voice back say like in very broken, hello.
Are we safe to come ashore?
Hello.
Wave again.
Yeah, the waves like lifts.
Yeah, so I just kind of called down to me and
What
say,
did they say?
hello. That's about it. I think if we maybe start to slowly go towards the ruined city side of the river here, like we're going to bank, maybe someone else will come out who can speak with us.
Okay, just keep an eye out on
Of
them.
course.
There's
And
You know,
try not to run any of them over, please.
okay. We'll try.
Okay, yeah, you try your best to avoid the fishing boats. Luckily, you know how to park a boat. You do it all the time.
Yeah.
It's, no
And then
problem.
I'll turn back to them and say, we're coming ashore.
They kind of like they look quite smiley. They kind of smile, just like kind of
Yeah.
nod, and just like yeah.
Suspiciously or not.
Yeah.
You will sense
As we
motive.
get closer, I'm definitely trying to sense motive this shit.
Yeah.
Is this just like the happy, yep, whatever you're saying, sure.
They've got the barbecue grilling on the side of the water. Okay, yeah. I mean, anyone wants to come on me perception? Yeah. Blind, of course. I mean, tieflings, you're not really sure how to read them out there. I mean, they look happy to see you.
Mhm.
I mean, it's also, you don't feel, it's a bit weird. I mean, they look very happy, but like, you
Right.
also probably very rarely have people visiting, so it could be a lot of curiosity. You don't really think anything, they aren't licking their lips or anything weird.
Why'd you have to mention that?
They aren't
Yet.
licking their lips
They
yet.
aren't yet.
They aren't sharpening their knives and forks. No, okay, yeah, so you kind of go in, and yeah, there is a few more people, yeah, for sure, like now, maybe like 20, 30 people of, like, kind of waiting now at the kind of the small docking area. And yeah, you carefully get the boat moored, and yeah, they are all kind of like, watching, still, like, no one's like running over to the side of the ship as it docks, so it is kind of up to you to go down. No one wants to get too close, not knowing what you like or who you are.
Yeah, so don't go too close. I'm guessing throw out an anchor if we have one.
Yeah, it's fine. You find a rope, even when like someone hops off the
Oh.
dock and like ties it
okay.
up. Probably, I'm just guessing.
Cool.
Yeah, and like everyone's just like it's all like murmuring in Mwangi like around as the direction of you guys. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's kind of like go towards the the side of the ship. I'll climb down. Or again, I don't climb. I jump down.
You're gonna jump off
To
onto
the-
the dock.
Yeah, and then to say, does anyone here speak common? Right, is in Pathfinder terms.
Yeah, like obviously, like common, what you call common might be different, but I mean, if you say it and you speak it when you ask, right? I'm sure they'll get the idea. Yeah, there's like so you like ask. There's like a murmur still in Morangi, and then you see from the back someone who like was talking less, kind of steps forward. She coincidentally looks very much like the one in the art I showed you, and yeah, it is a she, and she says, "Yes, I do." And she speaks it quite, it's certainly well, like, with an accent, of course, but like, fairly confident, it seems, or fairly proficient.
Excellent. But my name is Altair. This is our ship, and we are just traveling through, but we couldn't help but notice the ruins here, and that we weren't expecting to find anyone along this river.
There are not many visitors this deep in the heart of the jungle. Well, not the jungle, the heart of the expanse.
That is what we've gathered in traveling up this river so far. There's not many people.
No. She kind of like looks around everybody else. It's like, well, please, it would be inhospitable of us to not invite you in. You must have had a long journey. Please, follow me.
Okay.
Yeah, she kind of like says something in Wang she others, and then she kind of like leads you and anyone else who wants to follow. Cooper does. He is really on edge again as you kind of lead into one of these. The building looks like it'd been like kind of fixed up. Maybe at one point it was damaged, but it's like stone, by the way, like not wood. Like the old kind of building structures were made of like kind of brick, and it is quite a large, like one like singular room as you head in. That seems to maybe be their version of inn / cafeteria / communal / town hall. Probably does like 5 things at once. That kind of building.
Mhm.
And yeah, there is a few tables, and she kind of gestures at one. Please have a seat. I will perhaps water, tea, a drink.
Sure. That would be wonderful.
Yeah, she
By the
nods.
way, how many of us went with Altair? I guess everyone went.
Whoever wanted to.
Yeah.
People-
Yeah, I would have followed.
Yeah.
Probably not
leave the
Coop.
boat.
On edge, so.
No, Cooper follows. Cooper
Okay.
follows. He doesn't want to
Yeah,
be that low
that's
hide
cool.
here. He wants to stick with the party.
Yeah.
Oh, right, with the fighters, yeah.
With the fighters. Let's not just wait on his boat with all these guys you don't speak common about. Yeah. So she does, and yeah, she kind of asks something around in, and they like start preparing with like some refreshments, basically like a selection of water and like some strange sort of fruit juices and maybe a tea. And she's like, "Well, welcome to." She kind of like gestures around the once beautiful city, Vastel.
Estelle?
Vastel. Like,
Oh,
okay.
Gotcha. It's like the Cosmic Beat.
Like that.
Okay.
It's like I wish you could have seen this in more glorious days.
We have
Yes,
many questions. First, what happened to the city? Oh, I am Crixel.
He kind of nods. He said the city was, well, in large part destroyed many years ago by a war, I suppose you could say, between us and another.
A war with other people?
Kind of funds. Yes, the kind of standard the other city known as Zatrambia, or Zatramba. So Zatramba. Like I do not know if you know much of the history of this area of the world. You seem like outsiders, but in the many ages that have passed in the Moangi, there have been many wars and fights, and one of which was more destructive than many other.
I'll look at yours to see if they're familiar with it.
Yeah,
Look
this
at
way
them.
anyone can rule society to see if like you have heard of any such city or any such conflict.
I don't even know. Those other of society these days, right?
Not that I've been rolling well with it.
Okay, no, I think you have heard a little bit, not so much, obviously enough that you saw this city and you were like, oh, this is exactly where Basto used to be, blah 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 blah. But you have at least maybe heard, maybe it was as a chamber, as a more maybe a larger place. You're not sure how long, maybe we're talking about roughly in 1,000 years, and you I guess from the story that this is maybe a similar sort of age, that there was once a city called Zatramba, which was not sure how it happened at the time, but basically became a very large sort of like trading hub and almost like a place of commerce in the Morangi, like one of the first sort of places. And but then over time, you're not sure why, there was another outpost, and here the name Vastel actually is what comes to mind, which was basically set up. You believe the story goes, it's like almost like another outpost similar to the Tramba, like basically like a bit more inland, a bit closer to like trade routes where they would have almost like another place to do business. But over time, as things were, they merchants basically moved over. There was some that became more popular. You've heard that it was perhaps at some point to do with religion, but you're not sure what religion exactly were involved. But over time, there like basically was a skift between these two cities, and eventually the war translated from a trade war into a physical one, and somehow, kind of like looking around, you're not sure how the kind of people back then, it was before cannons or anything, so you feel like maybe the stories go that maybe it was like there was otherworldly things involved, maybe like stories, maybe something like dragons or like magical wizards of incredible power. Some would say like demons, were summoned, like something about this effect. There was magical forces, which in the end both cities fell to. Like we're not sure one. The stories you've heard go that one started the fight, and in the end both were basically however subject to this like uncontrollable force. And then over those times, the details were very blurry, but both were left as ruins for like centuries to come.
And roughly how far away is that other one? Would it be?
Let's see if let me check actually. So,
Or is it like completely destroyed?
No, you think it's probably like the story you're saying, it's like probably a similar thing to this, right? Where like if people wanted to live in there, they could. Blah blah. Maybe it was like you're not sure, maybe it's slightly or more, but you think at least it's not like a hidden thing. You think it is further inwards in the direction of Lake Okata, but you're not sure like so you think it probably like maybe like this sort of region ish, but like and maybe I don't know. You would think like probably in this kind of range, like maybe a couple 100 miles. So like very far,
Gotcha. And either with time the rivers have changed, or that there is like maybe an unmarked river that connects like
exactly. Or maybe like the
area.
jungles did not just abandon their trade rules simply overland. Like it's hard to say exactly right for sure.
True. Okay.
But yeah,
Mm.
you're not sure at least. Any such route you believe is like no
Right.
longer existent. So yeah, so exactly. So you actually quite you've heard this span of history.
Yeah,
Again,
I'm
the
like,
details
oh,
are very foggy,
actually,
but you've heard of the kingdoms. Or the
surprisingly,
histories.
I had heard a little bit about that, and I just kind of recite the few things that I do know. But obviously I can't speak to the validity of that information, but it seems to be
Yes,
correct.
you are very knowledgeable for one not of this place. I assume from looking at you. Yes, that. She kind of nods. Most of the details seem to be correct. Yes.
That's
So
why
are
you
you?
grow horns?
That's
Don't just
why I go once. What is why I go once?
Terrible war. Ruined city.
Crixel.
She kind of frowns, and she's like, in a way, the one thing she kind of turns you of the story that you did not get entirely correct, although I suppose you did not know the details. It was Rastel that bound a force to their purpose, and it was them who, in the end, led to the destruction of both the city. And she kind of gestures to the horns. These are, I guess, evidence, you would say, of some of the bindings and work my ancestors did.
So is everyone here the ancestors of those original people of Restel, but in its glory?
She nods,
Descendants?
indeed.
Ancestors. You're right. Descendants. There we
Yeah.
go.
One thing to say, maybe you got it from the way I was talking, but those of you kind of like paying attention, she doesn't sound very ashamed of it.
Yeah.
Like, of course it was a long time ago, but she doesn't, seem like, like to her
Really
it
admit
seems
it.
like that. Exactly, yeah. But yeah, exactly. She just like kind of brought it up freely, like you made a mistake with us. Yeah, but then she goes on. But indeed, that it seems perhaps that your friend could answer almost all the questions for you. She kind of turns to you, Quixel.
I turn to Altair.
We can speak later. I mean, but no, we definitely. This is quite surprising. Interestingly enough, we are heading again, continuing north, eventually trying to find a way through the mountains towards the Mena Wastes.
Well, but it's quite a task. I'm not sure why you would want to go there, but I suppose good luck.
I mean, and for the sake of honesty, it's we are working with a merchant who is looking for another way to reach the other side of the continent. To avoid the what's it called? The Chiliax. Well, just not to have to deal with the Chiliax. We'll put it that way.
He's
And
like,
rather than going full south, we're
very
looking
well.
for
I admit
a
I
way
do
through the
not
Monkey.
know or frankly care too much about the politics of the outside world, but she sort of shrugs. If it does not interfere with our city and us, then I do not believe we would
It
have much
shouldn't.
interest in it.
Yeah, it shouldn't unless you want it to. I mean, I know that this may be a bit of a sore subject, but Restel, from the stories I was told or what I've learned, was once a great port and trading hub. While the operation is rather small that we are a part of, there could be an opportunity if you and your people were interested.
Sort of is like, well, that part of our past is very far behind. She kind of gestures like to the door. It's like there are few of us now, and it is all we do to continue the memory of our ancestors and their worship. I do not believe much of us will care to establish such or to be a part of such roots.
No, and that is totally fine. Again, we just as we come through, we just want to make sure that anyone along the road knows that we do not intend to interfere, and only we want to be a benefit to those around, and not a hindrance.
That is good. I think if My people, of course. Oh, this is first time she said my people, so maybe you catch it. She kind of like corrects herself a bit. It's like the people here will, I'm sure, be interested in the outsiders. But I believe if we do not interfere with each other, then there will be no problems.
Of course. Speaking of, we never got your name.
Oh, she says, of course. Gotta change that. My name is Faraji. Yeah, Faraji Kamau. Kamau. I can never read their own names. I'll write it down.
Can you spell that?
Yes, Faraji Kamau.
Oh shit.
Karachi, Kamal.
Kamau.
Okay. Well, it is a pleasure to meet you. I don't mean to infer too much, but are you sort of the chief, the leader of these people?
Perhaps they see me as this, but she kind of find, yes, I suppose for your purposes, at least that would be the easiest way to look at me.
Our route takes us further. This other city, also ruined. Still, people?
I do not know. I have never been, and it does not lie along the banks of the river, if it is your boat you are taking.
Safe.
By the way, Ian, what is this river called that we're on?
Oh, it is still, I believe, the Corville. This is called the Upper Corville River. Corville, I can like write it for you. So basically, the
The
part
Corir,
Corville River, yeah,
Korir.
exactly that one. So when it's like north of the Lake of Vanished it's the Upper Core River, and like beyond it is like the Lower Core River, where it gets behind. But like
Okay.
this whole river is basically
With like,
sure, like
basically where the Lake of Vanished Armies is, like
yeah,
down that
leads
area would
into
be
it,
the
leads
lower.
out of. Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
exactly, yes, from the lake down, lower to
Cool,
the lake
cool.
up is higher. And of course, like there's probably different names here, but beyond
Right.
what you
For
would
everything
call
that
it.
branches off of that.
Exactly, yeah. And you're not sure
Okay.
yet. But the main body. And she's like,
Well, Faraji, is there anything that we can do for you or your people?
no, we are simple but happy. I do not believe we have need of what you offer. It's like, but regardless, it would not be right for me to choosing for our dealings end so swiftly. I would invite you to spend the evening here to stay with us the night, and perhaps I will think of something that we can do for one another.
Okay, so you're not interested in trade at all with outsiders. If
I do not know what we would have to offer to trade, and we do not have much money. I do not know what things you make such a effort to trade in, but I believe it if it is more than simple necessities, food, clothing, textiles, then I do not believe it is what we are interested to trade, and I do not think you would come all this way to find a route for such things.
True. Obviously, our original, purpose is not specifically with Rostel or your people, but if it is something that we're looking to open an eventual trade route between the other side of the continent and down to the south towards Antuthis or Antuthis, is that still what it's called? Right? Do we talk about that?
Yeah.
Sangor or anywhere else? Right? The idea would be that if there's something along the path, and that could be right. You say you may not have many things to trade, but I mean information is always valuable. Information about this
And-
place.
And a safe haven for sailors if they need one.
And perhaps that is true.
And while we may not have those objects, you mentioned, medicines, textiles, anything like that, food, whatever you could need right now, that's something that we could pass on to anyone who may be coming up this way in the future. Again, obviously,
Yes,
this
something
is
to think
fully
about.
in you.
I will have to consider.
Of course.
But she nods. But please, just like your friend says, have to keep this place a safe haven for the night.
Mhm.
And you are our guests. But I do not know what
Yeah.
that means in the outside, but here, that means something.
But could I sense motive on her? I'm
Yeah.
just trying to get a sense of like her, if there's a more kind of unspoken reason for her hesitancy to accept either our help or, like completely disregard any chance at trade.
Yeah, it seems like kind of what you get the idea of. She seems very much not perhaps wants to have that much dealings with outsiders. It's very hard to tell reason behind that, but yes, you kind of get the feel that she is maybe slightly worried or what I don't know what would happen, but like that she doesn't necessarily want like the people in town, to hear all these. I mean, there's famous real things, right? People about, oh, you don't hear people in town to hear about all the wonders of the great cities and leave their, homes, for instance. That's probably a worry that might be in her mind, that might cross your mind. And yeah, maybe there's some other reasons, but themselves, you're unsure. But yeah, she certainly seems like she doesn't like the idea of like all these
a little
people
cagey
visiting.
about
Exactly,
it.
exactly. Like this is our home. We're happy here. We don't really want to change. Change can be good. Change can be bad. We don't need change.
Right. Well, and let's face it, the big change that happened to Restel in its history was not good. We'll say.
Exactly. That's one way to look at it. Cool. Yeah, but if you guys, is there anything you want to do while you were here, or just kind of like, So it was,
I mean, I do want to ask, like,
getting-
if we do have free reign to like explore the city, as long as we don't step into any occupied buildings and stuff,
Yeah, she kind of nods. She's like, that is allowed. If there is somewhere you cannot go, you will find someone then to tell you not to.
Is there any how to say interesting locations here nearby? Local sites.
Nate's looking for hot springs.
What are the top attractions near Vestel?
Yeah, TripAdvisor.
TripAdvisor, 2 out of 10. Kind of found. I am not sure where your interest lies. Some of the great temples of old are truly, even if they are mainly destroyed by now, they, at least to me, still show much.
Is there a temple
we're-
of Caden? Caden? Do you know this one?
I have heard of them, one of the human gods, yes. And you see, like, and she says that, like, I mean, she is human, so it's a bit of a weird way for her to phrase it. Like, I mean, tieflings are so human.
Right? Because are tieflings ancestry?
Tieflings are
like
heritage.
They're a heritage, not an ancestry.
They're heritage, not ancestry.
So
for
every
sure, like,
ancestry can be a
maybe-
tiefling, right?
Exactly, any ancestry. So you for sure have human tieflings. Like whether or not
Right,
I mean, perhaps her saying this, maybe she considers herself more of a tiefling than a human. For instance, like probably there are some
Right.
tieflings who would not call themselves 100% human, right? Like I mean, a half elf is also a merciful heritage, right? You wouldn't call yourself a human then. But yes, it is also maybe something to note. But no, I know of him, but I believe the temples here are older than he is.
Well, interesting. We should look at these temples.
I mean, we are all we have a job at hand. We're all kind of explorers at heart. So, learning more about the world, the people, the locations, religions is something that at least most of us find quite interesting.
Oh, or big monster to hunt.
No big monsters that I can think of here.
No
At least there were.
demon that remains.
No.
Well then.
Thank you.
So, I thank her for her time, but don't want to keep her too long.
Yeah, she kind of nods and walks back to others and starts calling out and running. And yeah, you have a free reign to explore a little bit around if you wish.
How many as we walk around? How many people are there?
Yeah, so let's say
bananas?
you walk for a little bit, right? So it's not just the first one you try maybe after 10, 20 minutes, get a rough number. It's not many. Like maybe it's like kind of similar to the place you saw before. Maybe even less here. Maybe like 200 or something in total. If you had to guess, like you don't see 200, but like looking at how many buildings like
Yeah.
look like they could be living people in them, you see it could be as low as 100, and maybe like as high as like 300. But 200 is like a guess, right?
Shame. Their home. Too big to rebuild. Even
Yeah,
after all this
it's
time.
it's huge. It's like for sure no.
Yeah, it probably used to hold thousands or even potentially tens of thousands.
Yeah,
Is that big?
10,000. You think probably at some point. At its height, probably would have been possible.
Damn.
Damn, indeed.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean, looking around, like, do we see anything culturally significant that's different than the last Moengi tribe that we met? Right. So, like, there's similarities in their architecture, their writings, their food, spices, like anything like that, like
So
things like
the architecture is, I mean, clearly this is me. Their architecture is much older. It's different. If you
Ah,
look around
sure.
here, it seems. Is there a nice way to say this? Civilized enough, but maybe slightly more primitive. Like they have less focus on like different spices. Maybe their textiles are more like rough hewn cloth that people were like happy enough wearing. Compared to something else.
Sure.
Yeah, so maybe less of a focus sadly on like kind of like moving forward and maybe more kind of sadly like kind of thinking about the past rather than thinking about the future.
Okay, sure. Did we see in the previous place or in this one like religious symbology of some kind? I know we didn't ask that the last one, but I'm trying to help
Yeah,
you back
yeah,
on it.
yeah. The last one, yes, there would have been some. For instance, there was the remember the god. What's it called? The one that had the tree, like that symbol basically of
Symbol of the tree, yeah.
the world changer, Bloombar. You actually saw a couple of people when you were back and you'd seen it before. You you had recognized that.
Was
Here you don't see
a
any of those
true
ones.
god, or was he like just one of their ancestors? I can't remember what the.
He's a god. You're not sure of maybe the ancestor Morangi. He's a god from Morangi. Who knows?
Okay.
Who, exactly. Uh, Here, you do see a lot of people. I don't know how to say like wearing clothing that looks religious. I know that's kind of like a weird thing to say, but I guess you kind of know what I mean. I hope.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, like kind of like cloths and like kind of just people you would see like that person could easily be like a worshiper, but you actually you don't see like any like you don't really see many holy symbols like around and about. Like you maybe there is there is one you see a couple people have. I will show like you a picture what it looks like just in Discord, and anyone who wants to know what god it is can look.
Okay.
You just see a couple people with this.
Oh, out of two. I try and
Anyone
stand.
have religion or anything that might know what that is?
No, I definitely don't.
I can do a little religion.
Hello, religion.
Would it be religion check, or would there be other checks we could use?
This could only be religion.
I rolled it.
Yeah, I will too. My religion is super good.
Okay, so one sec.
Man.
Nate, Johnny. Nate, you're unsure. Johnny, you're not sure, but you actually don't get a good feeling to it. To you, like the typography and like maybe the style of this particular one you see someone wear, it makes you think more of maybe not so much a good god, and maybe something more associated with the fiendish. You're not sure if maybe it's a prejudice or something. I mean, did at least other people think that tiefling is a tiefling wearing it. It seems everyone here is a tiefling. I'm not. It's up to you if you think that it's going to be a prejudice, but Johnny does feel that it maybe looks a bit fiendish in nature.
The feeling
Also,
is
is it
best, basically.
The feeling is not the best. You, it
Societally
looks-
strange
it
to have a
looks
full
fiendish.
civilization of just tieflings.
You think you're not sure exactly how confident, how likely, not how likely, how the genetics of it look exactly. You think there's probably either two things, like these people were like so, they had so much fiendish blood in their bloodline at one point that it is like the dominant trait, or like it could be that they a very small community, so they find a lot of intermixing of bloodlines, and they kind of self-sufficient in such a way that it just becomes a dominant.
Sure.
It's you're not sure enough about the what's it called specifics. Yeah. But yeah, so there's a few people with that, but apart from that, there's any religious symbols. So is there anything you want to go around the town and look at?
Is there did I get any sense when we were getting closer, like back when I was still in our bird's nest, of a specifically large structure that looked like a temple of some kind, like kind of what she mentioned?
Yeah, there was one which I said looked kind of like a ziggurat, kind of like that kind of temple. There's from the outside you saw it was more destroyed, but here you see almost half of it is kind of facing into the city from this side, so it's kind of facing away. You came on the boat, and then half of it seems to have been kind of cleared up debris and everything. So potentially this was a big structure they were unable to completely renovate, but have still kind of made it possible to look in, for instance.
Okay.
There are still big chunks of it missing.
Yeah, I'd just suggest that that's a place we could go take a look at.
Yes, we owe cigarettes and the Shackles.
I think we saw one, right? Didn't we
Or
sort of see
maybe
a
on the
cigarette?
Devil's Arches?
Yeah, there was similar sort of structures anyway.
Okay.
There was one other one that was similar to that, or I couldn't remember if that was it, or if there was the one where we met Vesh.
Pathfinder guy, yeah. Could be.
Oh, well, you met Vesh. Yeah, that was yeah. I mean, yeah, temples. I don't even know what it is exactly. But okay, yeah, you.
They're like little steppy.
Yeah,
The
no,
rest
I
was
mean,
upside, right?
yeah. But I'm what needs to be exactly? Is a pyramid also ziggurat technically not right? It's a fucking the Mexican shit. That's not a pyramid. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it kind of work. It's basically a fancy temple complex. Yeah, you go in and you kind of look around, and indeed you think I mean, it's too old and too heavily destroyed, make up beautiful arches on the wall, but you are impressed by the scale of it. There's big pillars everywhere. There is still carvings in the wall, made actually into stone itself. That is kind of depicting. It's hard to exactly see what it once was. It is quite damaged, but it seems perhaps tied with magic is just a kind of one that you really get. So you think probably some sort of god who will stay tied maybe the arcane domains or knowledge, or magic itself is a domain of the specific gods. So you think it's potentially maybe something related to that. You do see on the walls and dotted around another symbol which pops up enough that you imagine it probably a holy symbol similar to the other one, which I can also paste in. It's actually surprisingly similar to the one you saw someone else wearing. Anyone who wants can also roll a what's it called, a knowledge check for this.
What kind?
Also religion with it. This one you could also do Arcana with. Actually, it would be harder, but you could do it.
Okay. Well, I suck and I'm untrained in both, so.
I'm afraid it's one of those. I mean, law gods. You got that one?
Yeah, I've got sailing, games, and assassin, so I don't think so.
Okay, I don't think so.
Assassin?
Shush.
You didn't hear that.
Okay,
Nobody
Johnny,
knows that.
Are you looking at this marking, or are you?
Yeah. Sorry. Of course, I'm looking at this.
Okay.
No.
Wow. Nate, you have
I
a
knew
similar
it.
kind of vibe to what Johnny had before. You can't picture exactly, but you also kind of get the heebie-jeebies from looking at it. Johnny, however, this one you actually recognize. Maybe that's what you were casting your mind around, and maybe the reason the other one looked familiar because it actually was, this is the one which you were thinking of when you saw the other one. You think this is the symbol of Abraxas, known as
Praxis.
otherwise known as the master of
sounds
the
like a
final
terrible name.
incantation.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, I don't know about that. I mean, put it simply, they're a demon lord, as well as being with the domain is kind of knowledge and magic, and also destruction. One of the things they are known about is this basically the secrets of destruction. The words to use spells to destroy their enemies, to become the mightiest there are, and everything. It is a surprisingly popular god in the underbelly of some of the glowing cities.
Among evil people.
Yeah, I mean, sure. But yeah, and you kind of think, yeah, from looking at the temple, with all like the arcane symbols sort of kind of like scattered around, and the motifs and just the general architecture, it does look indeed like this is probably a temple devoted to Abraxas.
Okay. Hmm. Maybe not a good thing. Yeah.
So what did you say he was the lord of?
Knowledge,
Lord
magic,
advanced.
destruction.
Knowledge, magic, destruction is a good 3 bullet points.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, not sure if that's good. I mean, we are the guests of.
I'm just making sure it wasn't like lord of like cannibalism or something, right? Like, because
Sure, that exists.
I mean, for sure.
Yeah, his younger brother, probably.
Younger brother. That's how it works.
Um,
Yeah. But yeah, so maybe it's slightly muted as you like look around the rest of the place. I'm not sure how much longer you spend in the temple.
Just kind of looking around. I mean, how many people are coming and going from it?
Looks pretty empty right now. You don't see anyone really coming and going. Like, I mean, it's I'm not sure how often this place is really occupied.
So it looks like the locals are worshippers of this demon lord, right? A bit,
Or again,
unnerving.
so.
it could be right based on the story that I heard and what Farashi told us that maybe Abraxas is who they summoned and is the cause of the destruction. And
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
also why their ancestors.
This temple is clearly before the people here. Like, what I mean, like
Right,
maybe they,
yeah.
I mean, who knows? They worship it, but for sure, it's not like they created this temple.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, possibly
and
they're-
that would potentially explain their ancestry or their heritage.
Yeah. There could be the offspring of this demon lord.
Doesn't make it
Or
much-
that their
much
ancestors
better.
made some form of pact to summon or to get power from Abraxas,
Yeah, so
and therefore, you make
I
deals
think
with
we
demons,
should
devils,
be
and that's
staying
yeah.
here for a longer time. I think we can all agree on this that we should.
I like that. I love that politics. I think we can all agree, says the one, but that's good. That's good.
I'll agree on not wanting to stay here a long time. You said.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, agreed. It's
Although the
for
people
one,
of now have nothing to do with what happened. Maybe they were evil, right? They were the aggressive
true.
ones.
But I mean, we do see people wearing similar symbols, right?
yeah.
And they do seem to somewhat revere their ancestors, right? So you never know.
So, still worshipping.
I don't know.
Yeah. Wouldn't want
I
to.
don't want to judge without knowing. So I just think I don't know if there's enough of a reason for us to continue to stay beyond tonight.
I wonder if they are a threat. Not now, but future.
I mean, what we estimate max 300 people over 1,000 years. That's not a great birth rate.
Yeah, maybe they kill the
They're
weak
young.
ones. Yes.
That'll be
Maybe
something.
Don't
they
need many to be
perform
powerful.
blood rituals.
They
True,
might
but I
have
mean, what?
secrets.
Drink
I'm not gonna-
the blood. Eat each other. Who knows?
I think regardless, we're not probably going to do anything about it. Right? Like, we don't know these people.
Would be tough. Not enough bullets.
Yeah, that would be the biggest problem.
Let's not even go to that point and just start with the idea that we don't know if they've done anything wrong in their life. start there.
Anything. So,
Yeah, but still carrying
We
the
lack information.
Let's-
I think that,
Yeah,
I think
let's
we,
not
I
talk
think
logistics
we,
before justification.
I think we can note this one down
Right.
simply as potential devil worshippers on the route.
angel.
I feel sorry for the next guy doing this shit. Oh, fucking go fight the giant who's like crocodile. Devil worshippers the next.
Yeah. I
not
mean, what they
the
see
safe
in like
haven we hoped.
Wigan, when the jungle literally screams you to sleep for miles and days at a time, I don't know if anything is going to
You'll be
surprise you
looking
at that
forward
point.
to
Yeah,
Devil worshippers.
maybe the silent devil worshippers are more up your, your alley.
As we're
He said
now still
potential
walking around the
devil.
city, can I be more watchful of our bags to see if we're followed or not?
Yeah,
Try to
I
keep an
mean,
eye out.
you make sure you have one active approach to watch out. You certainly have people looking in your direction a lot, like people like kind of turn
Right.
and watch. Like, you don't
do
have people
stand
like
out.
follow you close, but of course, like you're
Mm.
the first outside that a lot of people probably have ever seen, really. Like at least outside of Marangi as a whole. So for sure, there's a lot of eyes on you, but no one is like walking right behind you, like trying to pull you or touch your hair or anything like that.
I mean, they're not licking their lips or gnashing their teeth.
Nothing so obvious, no.
Okay.
Do the people, I don't know, what would Crixel think of? Do they have any like scarring? Like, are they battle hardened? Are they?
Yeah, I think of red eyes, like
Yeah,
tattoos, this kind of stuff.
exactly.
I mean, most of them are like wearing quite long clothing, like I said, like almost like priest like, so the levels of scarring and tattoos is obviously nice and hidden if there is any. No, I mean they like the person said they look fairly happy. Like they, like if they are devil worshipping it, they're probably doing it in the less self damaging way. At least to the
In the
immediate like
healthy
kind of
way.
in the healthy way. None of this, self mutualization, just the nice way. But I mean you have like they physically don't look like they anything's wrong with them.
Well, deal with the devil, maybe, but if knowledge is important here, they would have information you asked for.
So we spend the night, I guess, or
Yeah.
not? Do we?
Don't know why we wouldn't.
And then
Demon worshippers.
We don't
Yeah.
know that. Well, maybe a few,
We
but
do
regardless.
know that.
I try not to judge after Blizzard incidents on skin, but they have
we should keep
horns.
a watch.
You have a beak and wings.
Natural,
Um,
yes.
Cows have horns.
Natural to you. They've lived their whole lives with horns. Potentially
Tengu.
thousands of years have had the same, right?
But why still?
Just because it's not our normal does not mean it is a normal.
Man, that's complicated. What the fuck? How does that mean?
Don't understand. Yes, sleep.
Complicated.
We'll head back. Like I try to look like it. Does it look like do they even have like
So you
merchants or anything like that are selling food, or how do they handle everything?
They buy stuff from
Are they like a
devils.
commune? Like what's the situation
Yeah.
here?
They summon stuff from the nether realms.
Could be.
there's like near the fishing, like most like near the dock where you go on. Something. Hey now. I don't know if it imagine me. They, the ones who went fishing have like stalls up there with fish, and they're kind of like haggling with people. Some others like trading like grain, that you assume they grow in like the lands, like vegetables stuff like that. So it's a simple sort of like barter trade. Like it is very much like probably. No, they're not going to let you die, but they can't afford a fish. But there's just kind of like, oh, I give you the fish, there's a simple sort of barter economy.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't see very much like gold or silver actually paths and fishing supposed to
Right.
be like trade. Whether or not they would accept it.
Maybe try to go get some fresh fish for
But okay,
dinner for the group.
so you kind of keep yourself mainly, you don't like interact with the others too much. It sounds like.
Yeah, I think the only thing we might do is I
when
might
this
try
like
to
starts, becoming evening, was we
Was I muted?
Oh, I think
Uh,
Ian
lost him
just
for a bit.
crashed a little bit.
No. Trying to get.
Ooh.
You said trying to get and you cut out.
yeah,
I
he's,
crashed. So what?
I think so.
Oh. Hello.
Hello.
What?
We can hear you now.
Hello.
yeah, it's a bit.
What? Well, I gotta go to the bathroom anyway, so I'll be right back. No,
Alright.
I'm gonna go to the
Yeah.
bathroom. So I'll be right back.
This guy. Soon as
Grip stuff. Murder everyone while they sleep. Do they sleep? Probably not, right?
No. They have to do their bloody rituals.
Yeah.
of course.
We're keeping watch, right?
Okay.
No, we're not getting. We're not gonna let them sacrifice us to their demons.
Maybe only Cooper, you know?
We have to choose someone, right? Yeah, we choose Cooper.
He's
Only if you really have to, you know.
Who cooks them?
go back to
We
the
just
shifts.
makes. We just, you know, just go sushi from then on.
We eat them raw.
Ah, precious. Hmm.
What was that the golem was saying in the Lord of the Ring?
Hey,
Remember?
hello. It was working now, right?
Yeah.
Seems fine.
Yeah,
Good,
so
you good,
yeah.
you good.
Goody, good. Okay, so where were we?
I was just gonna say, like, I think besides just going back to the ship, the only thing we might
Yeah.
do is try to barter for some fresh fish. Get something nice for Cooper to cook.
You
tonight.
have like exactly. You have enough trade, and you whatever. You just have like the provisions and everything else,
Sure.
like rations, like wood, whatever. You know, it's fine. We just say like you barter is basically worthless, but at least like the fishes has no real value. So yeah, you have some nice trade, and you have some nice fish for dinner. You know, some of these lovely spices earlier. I can roll cookery check for Cooper, I guess. See how he does. Did I ever write down what his cookery skill was? I gotta make him like have a sheet.
Easily plus 30.
No, but he was pretty
At
good.
least
125 to
29
20.
was.
The 20 was
I remember the first time that he cooked something, he failed pretty hard. He rolled
okay,
like
but
a
this
1 or
time
2 or something
it's
like that.
fucking delicious. Like this is at least I can't remember it saying, but it's at least like a 30 total. I think it's a bit more than that if I remember the numbers right. So it's like some beautiful fish. Very delicate, very fresh. With simple spices. It's like a little citrusy. It's like what's the name of that spice? Oh, herb. Oh, what is it? What is it? What is it? Like
Cardamom.
there's like something which is kind of similar, I guess, to dill, but no, this is more. Maybe something like lemongrass, actually. Maybe some lemongrass, which you've never really had before. Some beautifully poached fish with lemongrass, kind of wrapped in like these kind of leaves to impart flavor. Very good. He's really outdone himself today. Everyone in this town today smells him. Like I said, here they don't have quite so like established in terms of the culinary world, so everyone else is like a lot of people are like kind of looking at their boat like, what is that smell? And yeah, so were you planning to spend the night on the boat, or were you planning to see if there was a place inside you could like get rest? You weren't really sure when she asked like about
Yeah, I wouldn't think
hospitality.
there was going to be like a hotel or like
Probably not a
something we
hotel,
could
but I
stay
mean,
at.
there's a lot of old rooms for old buildings, right? So there probably is
Yeah.
also a place you
Yeah,
could spend the night if you wish.
I don't think I want to leave the ship unattended though.
Okay. I mean, also no one says anything if you stay on the ship. But they
Yeah.
just,
I think we don't
know.
like where they definitely seem a little standoffish in terms of, hey, we're not super interested in doing like trading or anything like that. Maybe you don't have anything to offer us, vice versa. I don't think I even try to impose or
Sure.
ask
You
about that.
decide.
We just
Okay.
assume it's like, hey, we'll stay out of your way and
Okay.
let's
Yeah.
sleep on the
Like
ship.
you let us rest here tonight and be quiet and
Yeah.
safe, and that's it. Then we move on. Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, then we can say you have a lovely email with a little kind of like awkward with the atmosphere, being quite so close to town, not going in, but of course it's fine. And yeah, do you keep watch at night?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right.
And the answer is yes, always in the jungle, but especially when we have.
But now you're like
know-
civilization. Like I don't know if you would have like when you were back. I mean, no, but you did even when you were back at the other place, right? And the other
Again, it's because we just don't know them.
Yeah,
and they don't know us, right?
True. No one knows each other. Can everyone give me a perception check?
Mm-hmm.
I need to make a map for a second. But I don't have tokens here anyway.
Oh, you said everyone or
Yeah, everyone can do it. But we'll see.
Sublime
Cooper
Jimmy.
also helped me out at the end of the day. You know?
Nice.
So everyone just
Very
do perception checks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, so Nate, you go and watch first, in the evening, when the sun is just starting to go down, everybody takes their rest. You see if you're kind of just watching the town kind of just absent-mindedly, just maybe like sitting at the helm of the ship, just like keeping watch. You see, it seems that people turn in fairly early here. Like basically, as soon as like the sun is down, people start to like kind of head into to the rooms, like or the ruins/rooms, like a bit further away from the shore to get some sleep, and then it seems quite quiet. I mean, obviously it's a small place, so not a bustling nightlife or anything, so to say. There was like obviously like a place you could get drinks, but it doesn't seem like it's very popular to like Spain up in the late hours. Just relaxing. Seems like maybe they're a bit more focused on their work or just like actual like going through life. So it's quite quiet for you. Yeah, Crixel is the same. It's very quiet, except a little bit at the end. You see what's it called? Obviously, at this point, it's dark, right? So it's also like you can't see very much details of far in. But you
Mhm.
think you see a like a flicker of like light, like maybe torchlight, at some point in the like in the ruins, like maybe not too far from the dock. So it seems at least that there is somebody like out and about in the evening.
Okay. Yeah, I'll try to keep an eye on it, but as long as it doesn't get close or multiply. So.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't get close, and indeed, it doesn't seem to multiply it. It kind of heads kind of like deeper into like kind of like the main like area, like at least in like roughly that direction of like the main bigger buildings, like the older ones that seem to be the brunt of the ancient city, and then it it kind of like hides behind others, and then you don't see any others.
Okay.
Yeah, and then yeah, in out here you're watching like the middle of the night where it's the most sort of quiet. You see a similar thing to Crixel, where you also see like a torchlight heading also in that direction. It is obviously you explored the city around, so it's, there's a lot of different places, hard to tell exactly. But you see more than one. Like not all at the same time or anything. So I don't know, it depends if like you react to a certain point. But you do see it seems like there is at least like you're not sure obviously how many people would potentially be with one light, if it's like one person or individual, but there is certainly a at least a few over like an hour or so you kind of see them kind of move around through the city.
I guess to judge when I might act on this, did Crixel and anyone else tell me
Yeah,
that
I
they
mean,
had
I'll make
seen that
mention of
during
it. Yeah.
their watch? Okay. And yeah, as I start to see it, probably honestly, if I'm seeing more than 5 or 6 in the first hour,
Yeah,
I
it seems almost to get a bit more like a bit more of them at a certain point. They were like more closely together in time. Like the first one
Okay.
saw Crixel saw, which was like certainly like maybe half an hour to an hour before any others. And then you see one, and then maybe 10 minutes you see another one, and then like 5 minutes later you see another. And like they're all like also heading like or they're
all in
around
the
the same
same
area.
direction is it towards the temple, or
It's
hard to
potentially
tell?
could be. It's like a big city, but it was like it is in that direction for sure. Like that's also where
Okay.
most of the other buildings were, like the old ruins, but it is in that direction. Yes.
Gotcha. Who's the next watch, by the way? I forget. After me.
After you, it is Johnny.
Johnny. Okay.
Mm.
Hmm. Have we seen any movement towards the ship at all?
No.
Okay, it's about right. Well, you said about halfway into my shift, or so it's an hour.
Yeah,
or
about
2
this
hours
time.
long.
Yeah,
So
about,
yeah, I go wake up Johnny a little bit early.
Yeah, Johnny, you're like, it's not my time yet. The fuck? You get woken up and you're like, what the
How
hell?
would you
It's not even-
fucking know? But
It's like,
What's up?
no,
Feels a bit early.
it is a little bit, but there's a good reason. Something's happening. There's people from throughout the ruins who seem to be all heading under torchlight, bit by bit, towards what I think might be that temple. I
That's
want to
great.
go look, but I didn't want to leave the ship unguarded.
Okay. No.
You okay if you're doing a little bit earlier of a watch and I can go do some reconnaissance?
I'll survive. Hopefully
Okay.
you will too.
I sure hope so. If not, I'll be yelling like fucking hell. So get ready. Yeah, and then I'll kind of like drop off the side onto the dock as quietly as possible and try to start sneaking my way a little bit, slowly at a time. Particularly, like, what is the vegetation like in this area? It's kind of overgrown, so does it count as underbrush? My favorite
there's
thing?
a little bit. If you, what's the way? What do you want it to be?
Does it count as underbrush? My favorite thing?
So the bits like the entrance temple is not, but you can kind of get around the back of the temple if you go like the long
Okay.
way, by kind of like sticking to underbrushy areas. Yeah, that's for sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll do that.
Yeah, so you do that, and but then at a certain point, you do kind of like come out of it if you like want to look inside, like when you do it, but you have gone very close at this point, and if
Yep.
you kind of like at this point, like there were still like lights kind of moving, and as you kind of move through the underbrush, you do continue to see there is like huge on light. I'm not saying that there's like a fucking mob like walking in or like walking in
Right.
or anything, but there's again like 2 or 3 torches that kind of like happen while you're like kind of sneaking up.
Yeah. With that, is it look like it's like a single person holding one torch traveling by themselves?
So when you're a bit closer, you probably can actually, actually see them at some point. It kind of varies. Like as you go here, you see one group which is like one person, like with like a torch, like a small torch going himself, and then you see another which is like almost like a family group, like mum and dad and a couple of kids, like come with one torch, like heading in that direction. So it really varies. Only depending
Or
on just
the nice 3 a.m. trip to the temple, right?
nice 3 a.m.
Family outing.
Family outing. I mean, they went to bed so early. They, this is how people used to
Sure.
sleep. By nocturnal, whatever it's called.
Yeah,
okay. But if you want to like try to go have a little peek inside, give me a stealth check if you want to take a little closer.
Okey-dokey. Yeah. Might as well. Blind GM, right?
I always forget with stealth.
Yeah. 'Cause, like, sometimes it's I feel like it's not.
Sneak is
sometimes it
secret.
is.
Yes, it's secret. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you don't hear anybody like shout, "Hey, who goes down?" Anything as you sneak your way out. You kind of wait for like a torch go, and you're like, you kind of just have to hope that there isn't, like another person like coming soon, or if there is, you like hopefully you're kind of watching back and forth, and you kind of peek your head a little bit inside. And you actually see, I guess, when you come outside, that there is some like light coming out from the inside, to kind of like lights the way a bit, so you kind of make sure you are still in the shadows, and. Yeah, I mean, there's no other way you describe it. You see a ceremony or like not ceremony, what do you call? No, not even that much. What do you call it? There's like a church, like
sermon.
Like a sermon.
Service?
Yes, a sermon or a service. Yeah, there's something more than that. Not quite so much as a ritual you don't see, but you see what would be described as a sermon. You see the individual who basically switched you each earlier, Faraji. She is basically at this like old sort of you saw it earlier, basically what would have been the altar or like a plinth or something at the far back of the room. With some of the structure like a hole in the ceiling above her, and she is saying out. I mean, in the doorway, like you can't make out the words obviously with them Marangi, but with a quite clear and quite a clearly powerful voice. She's a good orator as well. And yes, she is leading a sermon of some sort. You see now that she has you're not sure if she always would wear under her clothes. She has like around her neck like a symbol of the same god as you saw kind of on the walls of this church. And I mean, I don't know how long you watch it for, how long you listen, but the initial impression is that she is conducting some sort of service. But it's up to you.
So is it mostly like just her tone of voice? Are we talking the hell and brimstone type voice, or are we talking just like peace be unto you, right? Like that kind of more calm.
She doesn't sound angry. She's,
Okay.
it sounds very will from her voice, but you
Right.
don't see people like like kind of like looking angry if they watch. Like if you try to scan some of their faces,
Gotcha.
they look kind of just like
More
like
thinking on the words,
just like
or
yeah, exactly. Just like I mean, in my head, I'm thinking of like just like I mean, I'm trying to convey it to like a Christian church where like kind of old fashioned, where it really matters like the morals. You have to do it. This is just your way of life, but not like necessarily. I mean, you can't tell you what she's saying, so it's really hard to get much of a input. But no,
Right.
she doesn't seem to be driving anger or like malice in the.
yeah,
in,
they're not getting like riled up with like
she doesn't seem to be riding.
pitchforks and
They're not saying we
kill
can
the
go
beast
get
kind of
those
thing.
foreigners.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't see any
Right.
pitchforks. No, it looks just like
Okay.
like a sermon.
And how many is it? Does it look like it's hundreds in here?
Yeah, like from what you've seen in town, obviously, like you're not sure, like when this started, or if it's like something where people like drop in. Like I said, like people were kind of like still coming up, and you're unsure if like she was speaking the whole time.
Right.
But yeah, maybe out of the people you saw in the town, it is close maybe to like 70 or 80% who are here right now.
Okay.
Like, if you had to guess like the total number. So it's like, yeah,
Gotcha.
there's at least like maybe like 80 people or something, kind of like lining, kind of like just standing on seats or anything.
Yeah, so I try to find like a really good place that's very much in the underbrush that I can still listen. I don't need to necessarily
Okay.
watch, but I'm just trying to listen for potentially like up to another even hour, depending on what else happens around me.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so okay.
Just trying to think, is there like a natural stopping point where now people are returning, or is it
Yeah,
just like
exactly.
the group
You're trying
continues
to
to
like, see it
grow?
like that. Yeah, okay. So you get out to the underbrush and you hear you listen on to more of it. At a certain point, the tone changes slightly, where it becomes more of a. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'd just say like maybe like like words of a spell or like of power in nature of like maybe divine magic. Where similar to how you've seen people cast previously in Magi. It varies, of course, on the person, but these words clearly seem to bring out a bit more power, and yeah, that like continues on for like a little bit. I don't know if you
Okay.
try to put it or not, but if not, after maybe 5 or so minutes, it kind of reaches almost like a crescendo, and then there's like silence for again maybe like 30 seconds, and then you
Okay.
kind of hear a little bit more in like that normal tone of voice, and after that you start to hear like the sound of like movement, like like people talking amongst
Shuffling
themselves,
feet.
and you don't hear
Okay.
her sing, and like it seems shuffling feet,
Okay.
but also they're kind of talking amongst themselves, and like people like discuss just probably talking about
Okay.
what they just were listening to.
Yeah,
And then,
just
yeah,
kind of
people start
mentally
to,
take note of that, and I still wait, like to see if people are leaving. Like
Mhm.
particularly, I'm trying to look out for like if she is leaving.
Yeah, people start to leave for sure. It seems like if she leaves, she probably is one of the last. Like you kind of watch, like, and you're counting roughly like how many people, and you think by the end of like maybe like 20 minutes, of some people dawdle, and you imagine like chatting inside. But after a point, you think you haven't seen anyone leave for a couple of minutes, but she still hasn't come out.
Okay. And it does like, because I'm obviously kind of mostly looking in those two directions of people leaving and towards the entrance. Do I get a sense like the people who are leaving are still like in just deep in contemplation? Are they still talking, like actively talking amongst each other as they head back? And are they looking like they're heading home?
They look like they're heading home.
Or
People like kind of
okay.
chatting, but you see them like kind of go from group. You see like some of the families, like the kids. Maybe they were like being quiet there, but they're acting like kids after church, where they're like kind of just going straight back to playing and ignoring what they were listening to, kind of, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
So it
Oh, yeah.
seems like it wasn't anything necessarily special about tonight.
Okay.
It's like the kind of vibe you get.
Yeah, this is definitely more of like,
maybe,
all right,
not,
this is
maybe
just
not
a
every
thing
day
we
occurrence, but
do
it's
on
common
these
one.
days, like whatever the day of the week
Yeah.
is, or every day, or whatever it is. Okay,
Exactly.
gotcha. Okay, I'll give it a little bit longer to see if
Exactly.
Raji leaves, and if not, then I'll head back to the ship.
Yeah. Yeah, so after 10, 20 minutes, she still hasn't returned. So I don't know if at that point you would.
Yeah, I might try to
how
do.
long
Has
you
anyone
want to
else
stay.
left in the 15
But
to
after
20
10,
minutes?
20 minutes, she still is there.
Yeah. Oh, so
No.
after that time, has
No.
anyone else left in the last 15 to 20 minutes? No.
No one's left. Like there's like
Okay.
you see the last people leave, and then 15 minutes pass, 20 minutes pass, and no
Gotcha.
one
Okay.
is.
Yeah. So I'll try to maybe like do the same thing I did before to try to get a quick peek inside to see if I can see any light or movement inside.
Yeah, you peek inside. There were no lights, and I guess you wait. Can you see in the dark?
I have low light vision, but not dark vision.
Okay, so no, for you it's just like pitch black. So if she is in there, I mean, she's
Yeah.
also you think tieflings can't see in the dark, so you'd be a bit. I mean, maybe she's a special one or something. I don't know.
Right.
But it's pitch black in that, and you can't see her. There's like a little bit of moonlight coming through one of the holes in the ceiling.
Okay. I'm just trying to I quietly just like listen for any sounds of steps or distant talking or anything like that.
Roll me perception check.
Okay.
So now, okay. So yeah, you really don't buy it. So you like wait an extra couple of seconds, maybe you like really like put like listening in. Maybe put your ear to the wall, whatever, and then you think just when you're about to give up, you actually kind of maybe just for this like what you do when you track animals, whatever. You always like put your ear to like the ground, and you think you hear the slight sounds. Maybe similar to what she sounded like before, assuming also who was like, doing the chanting. Maybe similar coming from almost somewhere beneath you. Like you kind of hear it like almost like through the stone if you like are listening
Yeah.
in.
And when we were in this temple before, did we see any form of like doorways or stairwells?
No,
or
I mean
anything
you
like that?
like I said, you didn't say too long because you got a bit
Right.
creeped out or something, so you didn't do like a solo examination of like walls or anything. But you think if there was a way down, it wasn't in like the main sort of room, and potentially it could be
Yeah.
like behind something or like underneath some
Okay.
weird masonry that fell over. But
Yeah. I'm not gonna keep
nothing obvious.
casting my die and my luck here, so I will start to make my way back to the ship.
Sure. Like it's in the dark, so you have to use the moonlight. So you have to go quite, so like,
Yep.
but, you're obviously a well-traveled thing, and yeah, eventually you get back to the ship, and it's probably now like even like quite a good way through Johnny's watch. Johnny, you probably don't even see out here. He kind of like sneaks up, but you need something beside you or whatever.
What'd you find, bro?
Yeah, I don't know. That Faraji seemed to be doing some form of sermon or service of some kind in the temple. She was wearing the same symbol of Abraxas, which is a little disconcerting.
Okay.
But then it wasn't like to rile the people up. But then I wasn't able to catch a good sight of this, but seemed to cast some form of ritual or spell in the room, and then everyone started to leave, but she never did. And the last thing I did before I came back is I tried to listen down, and it sounds like she was continuing another sermon, but somewhere underground. Like I could just make it out under the stone. So there must be some other, room or access within the temple to get deeper.
Oh, so they're doing a
Wish I
normal
spoke
thing,
Moingi
and then
really
they're
bad.
doing a secret bad one.
Yeah, potentially, right? Or it's like this is the one for everyone, and then there's the
Sneaky.
the eyes wide shut version beneath the ground. I don't know.
Just casting create food down there, but it's
Sneaky.
Uh huh. By the way, I just realized I think I'm probably the only one who's old enough to even get the reference I made. Damn it! Oh well.
What'd you say? I didn't
The
hear.
eyes wide shut service is down on the below.
Oh,
No one knows that.
Shit,
I
I don't know.
don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
Eyes wide shut is it's a Tom Cruise and
It's not even that old, is it? It's like
it's like 90s,
oh, I thought it was
1999.
I thought it was 2000. Oh, okay.
1999. Yeah,
Basically 2000.
Days.
I was alive then,
right. But like
I was
probably you're not
alive.
old enough to be like watching that movie when it came out.
Probably not.
Nah, no, when
Yeah.
it came out.
Anyway,
But yeah.
that's one of the people like wearing masks and getting all naked and like
Whoa. Yeah, I
Sleeping
wasn't
around.
allowed to watch this when I was 4.
Whoa.
When I was 4 years old, my parents were like, no,
Yeah.
not for you.
exactly.
Stay with your South Park. I've watched South Park when I was like 8, though. I don't really get that shit. That's just.
Wow. That was me with The Simpsons.
I mean, Simpsons. Fucking.
Simpsons influenced a generation.
But I remember we had like South Park DVD when I was like 8, 9, 4, and I was like, what the fuck? Wait. It's
Yeah.
be allowed to watch it. This is fun.
So I don't.
Anyway, sorry.
I definitely think we should be on our way once the sun rises.
I agree, and we
That's-
change the potential that whispers to guaranteed. That will keep us on the route.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if we were putting in percentage points before, we were like
confirmed
25, 30%. Most definitely, there are some here. Maybe not
Yeah.
everybody, but at least some.
Definitely.
Okay. But yeah, you don't see. I guess Johnny, when you were paying attention, you saw some of like the lights leave. When Altair was like basically away. I guess you took note. But after this, you don't see anything else, and eventually you hand over to Cooper to keep watch in the morning when he basically just starts making the coffee and breakfast. It's basically what he does on his watch. And,
Yep.
yeah,
Then I go
eventually
back to bed.
the sun is completely risen, and he wakes up everyone with like the cups of coffee.
Yeah.
It's like, well,
And then I
looks
just, while we're all having
he's
our
like,
morning
looks
coffee.
quiet to me.
Yeah, just while everyone's having the coffee, just kind of fill everyone in on what happened, what I found out.
Interesting night.
Yes, to say the least. It's
Not
Maybe I don't need to buy spices from
Unexpected.
these guys.
yeah. I think we're good without spices
Oh.
from them, right?
Yeah, I think so. I honestly don't want to know what they're eating.
Yeah, but we have to go back the same way, right? So
Right. But
be
they
nice.
they don't
Wa-
know
wave
that we
nicely
know,
to them.
and we can just exactly we just wave and continue on.
Yeah. No smell of brimstone, right?
Don't remember any.
Another thing.
No smell stood out.
What smells?
Just normal jungle smell.
Just normal jungle smell. Not the best.
Which actually, depending on where you're at in the jungle, it either smells very good or really bad.
So, leave them for now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wave
think so?
nicely to them.
Suck up on
Yeah, they're
bullets
like-
first. I see.
Definitely. I need many.
Mm.
I don't remember. Did we needed to say goodbye or anything? Probably not, right?
Whatever you
I
need
think
to.
that's necessary, right?
Just wave. Enough.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So yeah, Cooper's like, yeah, waving's plenty. I'm pretty sure waving more than enough. As he, starts, he's like, he kind of takes your coffee cups like untouched. Like, well, you gotta, dumps them overboard. That's back to the sails. And gets below deck. Okay, and yeah, do you just quickly hightail it out there? Yeah, they do wave. Like people look like smiling again at you as like you kind of pass the fishing boats, setting off. They're like pretty close to you. Say like one like says good morning and really like kind of broken common, like really happy that you like learned the words yesterday probably. And then it's like good
Yeah.
morning.
Like as we're like preparing to set sail.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. And he like waves back. He's like,
Yeah, they're happy to see us go.
Yeah,
I'm
never
sure.
again.
see you soon.
Yeah.
Soon.
Yeah, and he just stay away.
Yeah.
Alrighty, good stuff.
I think if we stayed for a couple more nights, we would be invited to the tragedy.
To the sex dungeon.
Oh yeah, I mean you saw it, not me. So. Can't say what was going on.
It's Altair's normal approach. Religion? I'm gonna go the other way.
Let's even a little bit less. Just any old religion.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. Then you guys set off once more, and your advantage kind of will cover everything. So I think we will get to the next kind of like point, and then we'll end the session. As you really are making your way now up a hill, like upstream, difficult to sail, sadly, as mentioned before. But you really now believe you are getting closer to mountains. As the days go by, you start to see them like properly with any sort of telescope, and the river is, like it's still wide for now, but you realize like based on where you're going, at least you're probably eventually gonna come to a point where the river is basically the mouth, or like not the mouth. What do you call it when a river is created? The
Source?
And
source of the river, I guess. Yes, you think like probably you are starting to get to the point where perhaps you are close enough that it is time to, like, you know, exactly. And this is where I realized, like, maybe it's been so many sessions ago, I can't remember exactly, you know, how as to what your plan was when you got there, blah, blah, blah. I think we were like, basically, like, okay, we'll discuss the details later. But there was, you know, a person you were put in contact with who is in a settlement, which is basically at this lake. It is called Lake. Oh, fuck! I checked the name. I guess you would probably have written this on your sheet.
Like mana.
Lake
Manawa.
No,
So just Manawa.
no, you silly. Lake you.
No, come on. I like that.
Like this is the name of that lake. And they basically said, you know, there was a person who lived at this settlement. I guess I would have told you the name of it. You're gonna be like, well, it's the crazy name. It is known as Gunworks. Is the name of settlement. You're not sure exactly where it is in like reference to it. You were told it was along just like the banks of the river.
Okay.
And yes, you know, you would
Just
the
guessing they
details.
make guns.
Maybe they probably made many things. Guns play one of them. And yeah, like, you know, it was discussed like you weren't sure exactly how far the river would take you, but it probably at some point you'd have to travel on land, but you weren't sure.
This is around where Alcansar is.
Someone
right?
note Devil Worshippers, please, on the map.
Yes, Alpenstar. This is where, you know, the geography is fucked up. Maybe they just fucked it up. I've looked online on Reddit. Like, the maps of Alpenstar, they don't match at all, like the geography or like anything else about the maps. But Alpenstar is apparently, and we just have to feel about is
I thought it was like here. Yeah. Okay.
It's around about there. But the really fucked up thing is like says like Alpenstar like on a cliff that like goes down.
Yeah, some of the books mention like surrounding mountains.
And of course, like, exactly. And the way it works in this rule, because this is the only way it really kind of makes sense, is there is like also cliffs and stuff, kind of like, you know, the mountain goes on further. So basically, like there are similar cliffs here, and it kind of goes down and kind of like goes into the lake. Because otherwise, like, it doesn't make any sense. Because it's like also like whenever you look at a map on Avatar, like the ones from like the published adventure, it has like the fucking what's it called? It says like the cliffs in the north going down to the river. Oh no, to Lake Mastrati. It says the waters go over the cliffs in the north to form into Lake Mastrati, and then it's like doesn't make any fucking sense. So it's like I've like spent so long trying to like figure out the geography of this place. It is ridiculous. And then like one person was like, "This is how I made the geography," and I was like, "Sure, whatever, you're good enough." But anyway, sorry.
That's we can't trust them in the olden days.
Math in the olden days, exactly. So yeah, so sorry. So yeah, you guys keep on going, and you make your way over and over and over, and basically where we will end is where you start to think that you're gonna have to leave the boat behind and go on foot for like the remainder of the way.
Leave the boat behind.
Leave the boat behind.
We're carrying.
You're carrying it? Okay, fine. It is about
Like the Vikings, let's go.
8 days. No, sorry, a bit. That was it 8 days? No, 9 days travel because it is upstream a bit to basically make it up to here. And sadly, the river ends a little bit earlier than it looks like on the map. At this point, you actually start to see like the waters come off the side of the mountains. You've made your way quite high up now, and like, you know, it is still. It's not like, you know, at least from here, it doesn't look like it's gonna be much like actual climbing left. Like to do, like, you're not like having to climb through it. You are in like some sort of a valley, but at least, you know, like the source of the river, all these kind of waterfalls coming off these like kind of, you know, giant mountains are kind of like all are like flowing down and like forming the river that then leads down into Rangi Expanse. And at this point, it just isn't really sustainable to continue onwards. I have a little bit of art to kind of give you kind of the vibe of what at least the AI wants to think it looks like a little bit here. You know, maybe this is kind of inherit. So, you know, you've kind of like, you know, followed this river upstream, and now like, the mountains have really started to be on the back of you, and you are in this like huge valley, which, you know, is kind of, you know, like a way to kind of get through. You know, we was kind of explaining to you there was a gap in the mountains. However, even though there's a gap, like it for sure, like, you know, the water sources are just like coming off the giant mountains, and they are stopping. So this was obviously in a couple of days leading up to it. This is like the kind of
I think Crixel, you know, after so long with so much effort, he's definitely like jumping up and down on the ship, you know, excited, like just clapping everybody on the shore, like we did it, at the end of the river, we've made it, and stuff like that.
Yeah, we made it all the way through the river, but now potentially
the hard part.
Well, one of the hard parts for sure.
Yeah, and like just looking as you go, and like look up, like it's not like the route itself. Like do you see on like it is quite like you could for instance probably take some sort of a carriage on like most of it. Like something like something like this. Like definitely you're unsure at least the one you see like directly ahead. You see like an amount of cycling like leading into here, but of course you're not sure what the rest will be like. But this is a bit on
Right, for like future trades.
exactly a future trade, like exactly how you would exactly get stuff between here and there. But
Do we know anything about like from our contact before, like what these mountains are called, or like what this path between them would be
these
It's a
called?
shattered range.
It's called okay.
Shattered Range.
You have to hold into society. You can't just say that. This is indeed known as the Shattered Range.
Okay. Do we know anything about the Shattered Range?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Jacko. Sven Austin. What do you know about them?
Echo knows
You
everything.
know that they're generally pretty hard to pass with ease. You would
Hard to
say
get
like
over them
the
easily.
easiest space is here, of course. This is called the Dell Gap. This is kind of not common knowledge, which is where maybe some of the trade happened between its most obvious, like frequently traveled kind of trade route. But of course, it isn't like so. Of course, an option that would potentially be to like you have someone with like a carriage go from like Quantum or whatever to here and then down to this river, right? Would be like another way to do it. You were hoping to kind of like skip it and like go like straight over here. Whether or not that's possible, or if it's too mountainous to do so, depends. It probably depends on exactly what you're trying to transport. But yeah, this gap is like how this area is like no one had really passed through it. It's like similar to this one, right? Like the valley is much slower. You think like I said, like here for now, it looks like you probably could take carriage, but you're unsure if at certain points like you will need to do some actual climbing. Maybe not climbing, but at least like hiking up, difficult terrain. And at that point, obviously, things like carriages sort of break down. But that sounds like an adventure for next time. So good shit. Yeah, so it was quite not a very active session. So I guess no combat, but make good progress.
We did actively avoid one combat.
Exactly,
though.
you could have killed so many people if you wanted.
Well, I was thinking just crocodiles, but
making sure
the devil,
not
worshippers
everything,
too.
If
There's a lot.
too much danger, something kills us. Who's gonna tell them about the danger?
Exactly, you gotta stay far away from the danger, so you're safe from the danger. You want to go to Geb? Who wants to go to Geb? Crazy people.
Or just imagine there's only like 200 miles to Grey Dirt,
I mean, the big worry about fighting the crocodiles is not us dying; it's the ship being
The ship
destroyed.
being
The ship is
destroyed.
for sure the big risk, right? Your ship needs. You need to look into new ships,
We need like a metal ship.
Oh, also, man, you did eat the seed. Man.
A
Ironclad.
submarine,
You did eat the seed.
or an ironclad, yeah.
So you want to look up what the seed is? You're never gonna look at this shit again.
Elder Seed?
Yeah,
Yeah, what is that?
This shit isn't it cool?
I remember looking into it for one of the
You already
20
knew this?
campaigns that I've started
Oh, really?
and then gave up on.
That's cool.
Dude, vitality, yeah, okay.
You should have told them to eat it.
Stage 4.
Understands
Okay.
nature is power. How in nature.
Nature.
Fucking hard answer.
Good one, right?
I do like that
so we have the
they're...
right idea, right? Like it's
Yeah, make sure to
Yeah. Yep. It's when he said, it reminds me, has any of you read the Ender's Game series?
The first one.
Yeah, I know a lot of people have read the
But it's
first
still
one,
the
particularly in
game.
America, because I think it's like a normal one, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend it because the author is a whack job. But the other parts of the series, Xenophage?
It's like one of those things where the author has views that directly or opposite of what he writes in the books. If I remember correctly.
Well, I mean, so
That's
he's
really
he's
cool,
from
especially
Utah.
that last part.
He's
It's
super
cool,
super
right?
religiously Mormon and right wing nut job.
Classic.
Yeah.
So yeah, so many quetzals if you've eaten it.
One of the species that they meet at some point in the galaxy in one of the future books is a group of like monkey-like creatures who part of what their whole shtick is if someone ascends, they like kill it in a ritualistic way, and then it becomes a tree, and the
I mean,
trees
this
are
is
basically
this isn't the
yeah.
kill.
Or no, it's just it reminded me of that, right? Where it's because you
Turning
technically, if
into
you take the
trees.
seed, you die and you turn into a tree. You don't turn into the
Listen,
tree without dying.
If you never get to stage 4 though, you're fine. You're sure.
Sure.
You just find the druids and pledge to them.
Wait, the trees are alive. Like, why do you die? You just...
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Well,
can
that's
try.
that's
I've
actually what they
tried.
find out later is that the trees do have a consciousness.
Or
Makes
at least.
sense, yeah.
Alright, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
That's a long...
We're picking up in 2 weeks.
We'll
Doesn't matter.
update, of course, yeah.
All right.
Alright. Night,
Thanks,
everyone.
Thanks for the
Matt.
session. Yeah, everyone.
Bye.